tossed the coin for the Brisbane Lions tonight, and he's won the toss, and the Lions will go right to left in the first quarter. We saw what happened at the MCG today, where Essendon were upset by Geelong, and so who knows, the Lions might beat the Saints for the second time this season. Hudson knocks the ball away on the half-back line and follows up his own work, gets the hand pass away. Wild old kick that one off the left by Knowles. Back to midfield. I was just about to call a ball up, and now it won't be a ball up, it'll be a free kick. It's going to Brisbane, adjudicated by umpire Scott McLaren. In fact, it's to be to the Saints and taken by Nathan Burke quickly. Mitchell fires the hand pass across the ground. Ben Thompson goes long inside the 50. Stewie Lowe is there, and he's got it.
One of them has. I think it might be Cook in front, actually. There were certainly two strong pairs of St Kilda hands up for the ball, and the front man, Cook there, has come down with the ball.
Stewie tried to wrest it off him, but the grand final ruckman will have a shot for goal. Brett Cook, playing just his 7th senior game this year. Breeze across him from there, left to right. He aims at the left goal post. That's not a bad effort, a magnificent kick.
Yeah, certainly good goal to Cook there. Good start for the visiting team, St Kilda, really. He doesn't kick too many goals, Brett Cook. He's only kicked 3 for the year in his 6 games, but certainly it was a good change of direction. They used the sideways space to change the direction of the attack, and it was a pack of players, but really it was good signs for the St Kilda marking players, because either Lowe or Cook could have taken that mark.
So St Kilda drawing first blood, and they have struggled to win at the Gabba.
And well said, Matthew, because the big fella Stewie Lowe is off the ground now with a blood nose.
Well, there you go.
And on the benches, just keep you updated with the benches, we've got for the Lions, Akamanos, Clark, O'Brien and Andrew Bews.
Back in the centre, kidding against Everett, comes down to Boyd, his second possession. Doesn't get far though. Quick give there from Thompson, goes forward St Kilda, there's a free kick, it's going to the Lions. And it looks like it's going to Darryl White. Darryl White playing on the back line, switches to the outer side of the centre wing to Nigel Lappin. Lappin towards the 50. Not much height there for the Lions, but it doesn't matter because Chris Johnson takes a good mark, plays on quickly. Bamford gets up and under it to the goal square. Has it come around enough? No, it hasn't. It's just the minor score to Scotty Bamford.
And Matty, just to keep you up to date with the St Kilda bench, we've got Nicky Winmar staying on the bench. Keogh, of course, we just saw Lowe there, and also young Trianides.
Ball to come back for the kick in. Wakeland kicking before the goal umpire finished waving his flag. So Wakeland again goes short. A choice of 2. McLaren plays on immediately. Wing looking for Sirakowski. Dick Voss over the top. Strong punch from Dick Voss. He's a solid player. Champion the quick give to Power's good. Power finds Black. Quickly plays on. The youngsters combined for the Lions. The future of the Lions as Black just pushes it across. Touches and grazes the post for their second behind.
He's certainly shown the initiative then, Simon Black, to play on quickly. I guess when you're up towards the 50-metre mark, sometimes you may go back and have the set shot, but I think he took the bit between his teeth and backed himself. And he has a good kick of the ball, even though that one wasn't kept on line. It's a very nice kick usually.
Mitchell from the back pocket, and Lappin takes the mark. Up towards centre wing. Dick Voss from behind, spoiling Sirakowski. Good tackle by Dick Voss. Grabbed off the ground by Burke. Bumbles the kick along. Hart and Burke, the two helmeted ones, go at each other. Close to the line, and eventually out of bounds it goes. Well, I'm sure Stuart Lowe didn't want to punch in the nose in the first minute in that contested mark with his teammate, but the Saints probably did pretty well that Cook came up with it, because he kicked a magnificent goal. I'm not too sure that Stewie would have kicked that one. Chance here for the Lions, Notting, up to centre half forward. Everett! Big Spider. Comes out towards centre wing. To Lappin, Matthew Lappin. Cousins opposed tonight. Nigel Lappin playing for the Lions. Matthew for the Saints. Dick Voss works the ball to the boundary line and gets it out at left half back.
So Danny Dickfoss involved already. A very solid defender, as I mentioned. He's a favourite amongst the players for his work, mainly off the ball, his positioning of his body. But Keating wins the tap. Down in front looking for Ashcroft, but getting through his Knowles. Quick kick, and Dickfoss has dropped back off the contest, away from the mark, and clears to Kennedy. Kennedy, often the designated kicker, decides to have a run. He's got plenty of space to run into. Now his third bounce, loping along. Now we'll look to kick long. Nope, decides to go a medium half kick almost, and really a nothing kick. And after having so much time, Lee, to have the ball and to look up ahead, just a nothing kick really out of bounds.
Yes, I was just checking the matchups there. It looks like Boyd and Burke in the midfield opposed to each other. Chris Scott is chasing Robert Harvey around, and Ashcroft and Knowles, and Bamford is on Jones. Two species together there.
Boyd has worked it out to Chris Scott. He's kicked it high up towards Bradshaw and Wakeland. Over the back, another boundary throw in.
It's always interesting to see players who take their time bouncing the ball. I would have thought that players want to get the ball down the four-line as quick as possible.
It's also interesting sometimes to see players have 2 or 3 bounces within the 15 metres, which you can sometimes stretch it to 20 anyway. Immediately bounce the ball, but the ball has come back in, not for long, because it's back over the line. Johnson there with Brad Campbell. And another boundary throw in the forward pocket for the Lions. They trail St Kilda by 4 points.
Currently 18, expected to get down to 13 degrees tonight. In front of the construction area at the eastern end of the ground. Robert Harvey fires out the hand pass, missed the target, but McLaren gets there. Clears the 50 to Hudgton. Maxey on the bounce, into Harvey, but too high for him. Brown back to Harvey. Well, Robbie Harvey just kept on going. He's come all the way from the defensive goal square. Beautiful kick. Floats down towards the pocket. Free kick to Cook over the shoulder.
Yes, we see that often, don't we, in footy these days, much more than we used to, where forwards are running back with the flight of the ball. North Melbourne have made an art form of it for most of the year, and as soon as the players, you see Kennedy's just completely unbalanced as a defender, because he's got to try and watch the ball and his opponent, and they're both behind him, so it's a very difficult exercise, and really it was a pretty undisciplined spoil in the end. He didn't really need to have that much contact on Cook.
Brett Cook for his second goal. A lot closer than his first, but this time he misses to the right. 1 goal, 1 for Cook. Well, good luck to Chris Scott if he's got to track Robert Harvey around tonight, but he's probably the best man for the job. He's had a great season.
He certainly has, Drew. I mean, he's been their most consistent player, works very hard, and has really tried very hard in conditions in the midfield where they've often been defeated quite handsomely. The kick in from Ashcroft finds Lappin. Lappin switches to the wing, looking for Lynch. Over the back, there is Peckett. Thompson does very well. Spins around, kicks it inside the 50, looking for Cook again. Kennedy, it goes over the back of those two. Bamford, he's got some space, he's got some support. Decides to change direction and go back to where the ball came from, and finds Chris Scott. Short to Dickfoss. It's been the problem of the Lions all year, is this short style of play, because they lack a little bit of confidence to go long and direct, a la in North Melbourne. So they've gone back 3 or 4 times and haven't got anywhere. But Bartlett still has it, and I guess from their point of view, they still have possession. Nodding. Now they've got a loose player. It's Lappin as he runs through the middle. He'll kick it straight into Thompson. It's come unstuck. Black. The give doesn't find Boyd. He's ridden in the ground by Burke, and the free kick to Brad Boyd, who, as Lee mentioned before the game, has been back in form, back in the side, has been one of the better players over the last 3 weeks. Short handball to Scott, to Ashcroft now, long and direct. Here's an opportunity. They go up and knocked over the back there by that player there, and Elliott. Peckett. Yes, good shepherd there from Everett. Gives Peckett. He's caught high from Bradshaw. We'll take the free kick.
Interesting call, actually, to start Keating in the ruck, and Matthew Clark on the bench. It looks like Keating is playing into the ruck and then just trying to drift into the forward half. I guess Peter Everett will be trying to do the same, so it'll be a question of which of those players can actually determine the positioning.
Shane Wakeland shrugs off champion, goes towards the outer side of the ground. Power putting on the spoil, it didn't reach him. Mitchell's hand pass underground to Aussie Jones. Kicked by Jones to half forward. Punch down to the front, it goes to Brown. Everett going past in the role of a rover. Open goal square. It bounces on and on. Stewie Lowe's there. Dickfoss takes him to the line. Stewie back after treatment to his nose. Takamanis having a kick of the footy. And the Saints have 1-1. The Lions 2 behinds. in a pretty good night for football. Chance for the Saints here from the boundary throw-in. Lowe just wrestles his man to the ground. Just gets rid of him with strength, but gives away the free. Dick Foss takes it quickly. Ashcroft to Lappin, who drops it on the defensive 50. Chance for Burke. He's wrapped up. He's holding it, says the umpire. And Nathan Burke doesn't quite agree.
No, not happy with that decision, Burke, and Ashcroft will take the free kick. Looking for Keating, but it's all St Kilda, but fortuitously comes to Boyd, spins out of trouble, the quick kick, nothing up forward for the Lions, so just looks to gain ground by finding the boundary line. He looked up and all he could see was Gavin Mitchell. And so another boundary throw-in.
Ball's gone into the construction site. We need somebody to get it back.
I think what is actually happening here, to explain that ruck situation, Keating is playing in the ruck and going forward, and Darryl White is then sort of basically the around-the-ground ruckman, if we want to use that term. Certainly the other tall player in the defensive part of the ground for the Lions, trying to get the best out of Keating, both as a ruckman and a key position forward at the same time.
Long run for the man in the hard hat.
Much to the applause of the Gabba crowd, he gets his first effective possession in the hard hat. Boundary throw-in. Everett does well towards Burke, and Nathan Burke gets a close-up of the photographer as he slides over the line. So a quiet start to the game, just the one goal kicked with 11.5 minutes to go in the first quarter. It's Everett against Keating, the tap down the front. Jones does well off the ground towards Hart and Brown. That's the duel for them. Hart, quick kick, doesn't go far. Lappin towards Knowles, spins out of trouble, does well, played brilliantly last week. His give off to the run of Maxie Hudson. Good run by Hudson as he goes through the middle, direct and long, looking again for Cook. Kennedy up with a left-handed punch. McLaren can't actually get clean possession of it. He was in the right spot. Bartlett comes through, pushes to the line, another boundary throw-in.
Has been a terrific player, Hudson, for St Kilda, only second-year player, but really has this year, I guess, been their best defender. Darryl Waitland has been pretty good at centre-half back, but Hudson has been very good back there, quick and mobile.
Ashcroft works hard in the pack. Darryl White had the ball away from him and was grabbed when he didn't have it. And it's a Lions free kick. Advantage goes to Bamford. He kicks across the ground to Kennedy. Still in the back pocket. Matt Kennedy breaks. Delays the hand pass. Chris Scott. Good chase by Lowe. Kicked by Scott. Johnson is there. Comes to the back to Champion. Hudgston's got him. And the umpire virtually calling for a jump ball here. Mitchell and Champion having a bit of a go, and the umpire's
free kick for it.
It's a funny old game if that comes to a free kick. Sierakowski. Into Harvey, the Rolls Royce. Kick to centre half forward. Peckett gets down the ground and takes a good mark, running in the same direction as the ball. Fires out the hand pass wide to Ben Thompson, who hooks it left. Should have gone from there.
Nicky Winmar back on the ground for St Kilda for the first time for a couple of weeks.
So Nicky be looking to get straight into the action, get a couple of possessions, settle down, and feel a part of it once again. Just the straight kick, the difference is Ashcroft, who looks to be the designated kicker this evening, kicks to himself, gets a bit of distance, so that's a beautiful kick to Boyd. Brad Boyd, again to Kennedy. Bamford around the back. Lions looking to move it quickly. Bamford, but kicks it in the Everett direction. White rises high from the front as only he can. Mitchell is tackled. Lynch now, he's a good chance to score. He runs to the 50. Have the Lions got there first? Lynch's kick is going, and it's just touched on the line. Good defensive work there by Sierakowski, is it? Or is it Wakeland?
No, Wakeland. Yeah, good tackle then by Champion. It was that created the turnover. Just not quite able to make the distance, Lynch, but a good attacking move. They're working pretty hard, Brisbane.
Hudson was clear from the kick in from Wakeland. His kick goes low. Now Lynch is going to get the free kick. It was a good solid attack on the ball from the low kick. Or is the free kick going to Tim Notting?
I think the umpire adjudicated that Notting was pushed into Lynch, actually, and they both collided.
Akamanis now on the ground for the Lions, picked up Nicky Winmar.
So Notting's kick is dangerous. Ashcroft doesn't take the mark. The Saints are away. Harvey is tackled but keeps his balance out in front of Everett. Everett from 50 goes to Banana and just to the wrong side of the post. A clever kick from such a big Manly.
It was good improvisation, wasn't it? He was sort of basically being forced on his right side, Everett. He knew he'd have no chance of making the difference right side. Come to think, I don't know if I've ever seen Peter Everett kick right foot, to be honest, and tried to kick it off the outside of the left, so it didn't quite work, but certainly terrific improvisation.
Yeah, the running banana when you're about 6'9".
It's not in the book, is it?
Bamford behind halfback. Comes out towards the broadcast side, just putting the ball out in space. So this will be an interesting contest. Lappin works to the front. Notting gets rid of him. Notting through the wing, up towards half forward. This is Brisbane's Lappin, and he can't keep it in. And on the 50, we'll have a boundary throw in.
I think that's one matchup that St Kilda have said Andrew Thompson is actually picking up Matthew Lappin, playing half forward, but Thompson playing a defensive role back there.
Armbands for the Brisbane players tonight for Andy Bews' mother, who died last weekend. And what a tragedy that is for Bewsy. His mother didn't quite get to see him play his last game. He retires from AFL football tonight. His kids were on the ground with Andrew Bews prior to the game for their father to toss the coin. Free kick here to Brown of St Kilda. He takes it from the defensive 50. High to low, Bartlett. Bit of bulk in that matchup. Punch to the front, goes to Lappin. He's got Jones inside calling encouragement. Now Aussie's got it. He's got Nicky Winmar inside. I think he saw him and said, I'm not giving it to you. Yes, I am. Oh, Nicky! Not a great comeback to league football. Cook. And now the Lions have it. Hart comes wide to Bamford.
Bamford, he's got to play loose on the wing, and it's Bartlett. Bartlett, as Lowe bears down on him, he takes the mark, spins around, plays on, ignores Lappin, looks for Champion. It's a good spoil, well done by the Saints. Thompson was in the right spot at the right time. Gives off to Harvey. Harvey to McLaren on the wing. Joey McLaren then kicks long, looking for another wingman in Aussie Jones, who marks just inside the boundary. So the Saints have rebounded well. Aussie Jones. Socks down. I noticed he had the socks down when he came up, so maybe it's a bit of superstition or a bit of luck for him. But he's found Cook by switching the play, and he's opened the goal up well.
That's where you should actually think about going in quick. Everett's in there against White, and Everett's height in these situations, and Lowe will be the target.
Goes for Lowe, it's 2-on-1. Kennedy comes over the back, Lappin for the crumbs. Off to Power, quick kick by Power, could be dangerous, it is. Harvey takes the mark. He'll bang the Saints back in. This time he looks for the other tall man in Everett. White gets back, doesn't take the mark. Well, he's going to be tackled well by Winmar. He's looking for options and couldn't find any, but the Lions are clever enough to get away. Bamford's kick is a poor one, puts Lynch under pressure. Well tackled by Knowles. Hart can't get clear, and Knowles just kicks it high towards centre-half forward. Thompson goes back, but the Lions have the numbers. Lappin gains control of it. A little bit of finessing there. Decides to run. Kicks it high. Now it's coming over the back, Champion. Hart was in front, the right spot once again. One out, there's only two players inside the 50. It's Bradshaw and Wakeland. Short of Bradshaw, Wakeland wraps him up, appeals for the free kick and doesn't receive it.
Defending quite well, the Lions back there. They're getting their numbers back into defence, and in that defensive 50-metre area, they're controlling that quite well.
Boyd's hand pass, knocked down, comes back to him. Ashcroft. Scott, Chris Scott off the left boot, and still the Lions are looking for their first goal. Offline, he gets it behind. They're 4 behind. St Kilda 1 goal 3. Well, there was a goalless quarter up here recently. This is not quite goalless, but not much better.
90-1, and if there's any criticism of Chris Scott, to be the first to admit that his finishing often leaves a lot to be desired, and he is working hard on it. So 6.5 minutes to go. 5 points the margin. Wakeland's kick looking for Lowy, and Stewie gets it. Stuart Lowe, a terrific player for the club over many years. He's already had a blood nose this evening and making sure that it stops. A little chip kick to find Mitchell.
So Lowe being a half-back there, they really haven't got anyone to go to now, any tall players, so they're going to have to try and chip the ball around St Kilda.
Well, they're doing so, but they're doing so well as Lappin takes it. Now towards the only big man up there, it's Everett. It goes over his head. Bamford doing well in defence so far in this first quarter for Lions, getting back deep to White. Pinpoints Boyd. Good run from Ashcroft. The Lions building well. Champion marks. Looks good. It's one out in the goal square again. Now the goal square's clear, but Champion goes short and finds Tristan Lynch. Now, the problem here, Lee, is that Tristan from 50...
Yeah, it's a testing distance. He'll kick from pretty much straight on the 50-metre mark, and he'll kick the 50 metres okay if he times it, but to kick the ball 50 metres and straight at the same time is not a high percentage achievement.
Well, Tristan Lynch is about his distance. It's as far as he'd want to be back. As Lee said, right on the 50. And Lee Matthews, you're a genius.
Well, that's the standard hook, isn't it, really?
Yep.
I mean, some players, every player can kick the distance, but it's amazing. I guess you've got to kick it hard. Players can kick and have 40 metres fine, but when you've got to kick 50, you've got to kick it hard, and I guess the hooking the ball is the main, most common denominator, isn't it?
Lee, if you look at the St Kilda four-line now, there's absolutely no one behind Everett.
Wakeland's kick in, and Stewie Lowe getting a bit of the footy, but he's at half-back. Off to Peckett. His kick over centre wing. Too far for Jones. Everett is there to palm it down. Aussie sees some space in front. Goes for a bounce, but he's run down from behind. Well done, Darryl White, to dispossess him just as it looked dangerous. Chris Scott's kick out towards centre wing. Champion. Low short of half forward. Inside the 50, Johnson. Mark.
He plays as what you'd call a crumbing forward pocket, Chris Johnson, but the problem is the most of the ball he gets is by marking it. He's actually a very good mark. Sometimes I wonder whether he marks the ball quite well because he fails to get in the crumbing position often enough. I mean, that was a genuine one-on-one contest. No problems with that one, but sometimes the little blokes who take those big marks are taking them because they're going to the marking position rather than the ground level crumb.
But I think Chris Johnson would be happy with that matchup due to his marking strength.
Yeah, certainly one-on-one against Mitchell, who's looking okay.
45-metre kick, looking for the Lions' first goal. And that's away to the left as well. And still they are goalless. But
Well, it's interesting.
6 behind.
You look at that matchup, just the different coaching styles. If Dennis Baden was coach, you'd find Johnson probably be playing full forward, making Mitchell virtually play full back on that matchup, just because Johnson is probably more capable of playing as a full forward than Mitchell would be at full back.
Wakeland's taking his 6th kick in for the first quarter. To the contest, Clark running it over the boundary line.
Does that suggest to you, Matty, that maybe Chris Johnson next year better get ready to play full forward in the goal square? You know, is he being coached from the broadcast box?
He's just gone to the goal square as we speak.
Are they listening? Anyway, the boundary throw in.
But the difference is in the goal square at the moment, you've got Johnson and Mitchell, and you've got, who is it, Bradshaw and Wakeland. I'd be putting Bradshaw and Wakeland upfield and just leaving Johnson there, because he is capable of being a goal kicker down there.
Spills to Lappin, who gives it back to Tristan Lynch. High ball. It's a tough one. It's 2-on-1. Going back was Knowles. It spills to Black. He's a left footer. He can hook it back. He hooks it too far to the goal square. Up goes Johnson, the man we spoke about. He went up too early. Champion the chance. Is it their first around the corner?
Gave away an undisciplined free kick, Johnson. He went for the big jump, which was probably just a pretty optimistic. He mistimed it completely, but Champion was probably going to turn around and kick the goal, and Johnson's given away the free kick to Mitchell.
He has been guilty of that a few times this season with the early jump. Now Hudson has it from the defensive 50. Spills it wide towards Stewie Lowe. Lowe under pressure from Bartlett. Bartlett wants the boundary line. Stewie keeps it in, does well to Nicky Winmar. Winmar with the hard handball back to Lowe, gives it back. Well worked by the two veterans for the Saints. Winmar kicks it high, looking for Everett, hugged up against the boundary line. Over the boundary line for another throw in.
Strange psychology in the crowds, isn't it? The crowd's booing Nicky Winmar. That's strange. You think, why? Yeah, what are they booing for? He's certainly done nothing tonight. Obviously, I think crowds just like booing the opposition every now and again, and because of Nicky's exploits a couple of weeks ago, he's a good target tonight.
Everett knocks it towards the goal square. Darryl White gets back there. He'll need to be quick, and is. Now he has to get rid of it. Bamford, and gets it back in the old 1-2. Gives it again to Hart. It was a scrappy bit of play, but they've come out of it all right. Notting has it, still in the back pocket. He's looking to go across the front of goal. Everett's there, look out. Good balk around Everett. Notting towards half-back flank outer side. Power, and I thought I heard the whistle go for a power free kick. It's going to be a throw-in. From the throw-in, Winmar with quick hands, out to try and Eades. He keeps it low for Everett, and Spider has it in the left forward pocket. late in the first term, just over 2 minutes remaining to quarter time, and we've had just 1 goal for the term. Saints lead by 3 points.
Kicked 7 goals, of course, for Victoria at the Gabba in the State of Origin game earlier in the year, and despite his 200-odd centimetres, he does like to lead for the ball, not so much just outreach and use his height, but does have the forwards' instincts to lead to space.
Left footer tightens the angle even more. If it's missed, it hasn't missed by a long way, but it has missed. Spider's second behind, so it's 1-4 to 6 behind.
I also have a theory on that booing, Lee. I think that the crowd this year at the Gabba haven't had a lot to cheer, so any noise is a good noise.
Let's do a bit of booing.
Yep, get their own back. The kick in, looking for Matt Clark. Over the back, Lowy almost got it. To Chris Scott. Chris Scott now up towards Nigel Lappin, who's now on the forward line. Thompson with him, quick give to Black. Black swings around again onto his left. It's a poor kick. Coming through is Hudson. Ashcroft, though, gets the spills. Ashcroft's low kick over the back. Ill-directed once again, another boundary throw-in.
They really worked hard for very little return, haven't they, the line? They've certainly held St Kilda out pretty well as we get into this last minute and a half of the first quarter, but 6 consecutive behind. Just been very sloppy in that forward 50 finishing. They could have easily had 2 or 3 goals on the board.
Well, they've got a minute and a half to score their first in this first quarter. Good tap by Clark, but there was no one there except the man, Robert Harvey. His give is an uncharacteristic Paul Wonder champion. Going through hard was Campbell. He's going to get it back from Thompson. Campbell now to clear to the wing. Bamford and Jones one-on-one. Good mark by Jones. Aussie Jones switches into the middle. Mitchell's run down. He's made some space. Gets around Notting too easily. Takes the bounce. Likes to kick goals, Gavin Mitchell. Sees Everett. Finds Everett. And the big Spider. A little bit of uncomfortable movement there towards the groin or stomach area, but
it was good judge mark, wasn't it, really? He had the sit and got a bit of a leap, and with a 200 centimetre reach, he was a long, long way up Everett. It was a good, strong mark.
So Everett looking for his first, should have no trouble and doesn't. The Saints get the second of the game and their second.
Yes, they certainly ran the ball out of defence well, then they just a couple of sloppy ball handling errors in that forward 50 for Brisbane. Good signs, I think, for St Kilda and Aussie Jones. He's just starting to work his way, got a couple of important possessions, actually playing on another very small and lightly built player in Scott Bamford. I suspect that is possibly just what Aussie Jones needs to get his confidence back.
Well, Peter Everett with 1 goal, 2, which is exactly half the Saints score. Scramble in the middle, Tristan Lynch. Play on, Mitchell grabs it. Jones giving good run. Kick by Jones, beautiful to Everett. Oh, you'd like those all night.
Yes, a good kick either foot, Aussie Jones, left or right foot. And he certainly comes off the back of the centre square. He's basically probably playing as a wing, but starting on the back of the centre square and coming through the centre bounce contest.
Everett for his second, closing the gap on Heatley, who's their leading goal kicker. This time Everett is away to the left and fails to register a score. That is out of bounds on the full. Everett's goal took him to 41 for the season. Heatley's got 45.
So Sean Hart to kick in. Sean Hart, who was instrumental in the surprise win by the Lions earlier in the year at Waverley against St Kilda. Best on ground that day. Kicking 3. His kick as we wind down towards quarter time. Low goes for the mark, doesn't get it. That is quarter time. Let's see St Kilda 2-4-16, leading the Lions just the 6 straight behind. So once again the Lions finding it hard to score goals. And Roger Merrett would be happy with their endeavour, but not their finishing.
Yes, I think that probably sums it up, doesn't it, Matty? They've actually worked very hard, haven't played too bad, but got very little result on the scoreboard for what has been a pretty competitive first quarter by the home team.
Nicky Winmar started on the bench, got a run in the last 5 or 6 minutes. Darryl White at one stage was chasing Robert Harvey around, but the Saints, with 2 goals in the first term, lead by 10 points.
Saints,
yes.
20 years ago we played together a grand final side.
Yes. Aussie 5 possessions in the first quarter. 10-point lead to the Saints. Everett on the ball, gets it down, but a nest of players. White, what a great pick-up. The half volley at his toes. Well, this looks promising.
Good
Black's
play.
hand pass. Bamford gets there first.
Certainly bringing the ball, Scotty Bamford. That was his 11th possession on Aussie Jones. Aussie Jones getting a bit of it, but Bamford certainly getting a lot of it. And I think a very promising player who actually fed the handball of Simon Black. I saw him play in the first game of the year, the first Ansett Cup in Cape Town, and hasn't played a great deal since then, but looks a very, very classy player.
So just the 27 seconds of the second quarter. This time the Lions are kicked straight and have got their first. We're back in the centre. Tap forward by Keating. Hodgson is in there. Appeared to be caught high by Ashcroft, but going nowhere. And you mentioned Simon Blackley. I've been impressed with him tonight as he appears to be direct, whereas some of the other Lions are looking sideways. He appears to want to get things moving towards the goal front.
That was just centre corridor, wasn't it?
Keating wins the tap. Boyd, quick kick. That's what you've got to do in those tight circumstances. Inside the 50, coming out to meet it is Dick Foss, who's playing up forward. Wakeland right with him. Free kick, Dick Foss. So they've switched into the other end of the ground. Short kick. There's the lead. Going back was Winmar in front of Bews. A quick give on the up by Campbell. And the kick has gone out of bounds on the full. So things not really working for Nicky so far.
Well, they've certainly got not much marking height down there, Brisbane. They really have to work the ball through.
Hart's kick, looking for Scott. Quick kick by Ashcroft. Could be all right. Bews in his last game, can't get the kick away. Well done by Campbell to wrap him up. So it's an unusual looking forward line. If you think about a couple of years ago, Dick Foss, Champion and Bews was the full back line for the Bears when they were playing in the finals.
Yeah, they've swapped ends, haven't they?
Keating and Lappin also there. Champion with the punch. Saints will want to clear it. Keating trying to use strength, can't get clear. Once again, another ball up.
This is where a few of the Lions players have to pull clear. When you've got this congested, probably 10 pairs of players all on the end of the goal square, very hard to extricate the ball from there, and that's where players have to pull away. Everybody just gets a bit over anxious. Everyone wants to score a goal, but you crowd up your own forward structure.
Well, let's see if somebody can get it out of here. Not on this occasion. Robert Harvey's over it. And Andrew Bews, the tackler.
And again, certainly not playing a tagging role, but Chris Scott had 10 possessions in the first quarter against Robert Harvey's 7. So just at the moment, that matchup would be going in Scott's favour, not only statistically, I think, but just in the way that the game's been played.
Boy, up and down the mine shaft and hit the ground pretty hard. Free kick to Everett. So the umpire has sorted out this pack with a free kick. Traianides takes the mark, still behind halfback. Now with a bit more distance to centre field. Peckett couldn't take the mark, but he's going the right way. And he comes with a good hand pass. Knowles, inside 50, Lowe is there, and Cook as well. Front of the pack, Hart. Bamford, goal scorer earlier this quarter. Along the ground towards the boundary line. And a pretty well-educated kick. And he gets the ball out in between halfback and wing. Has been getting plenty of it with Aussie Jones. And Andrew Bews at the bottom of that pack. The Rat. Here come the Saints. Lappin. Traianides on the run. He's only 35 metres out. Hasn't made the distance. Punched out by Hart. Well, maybe lucky, but it lands in the hands of Lappin. Bit of space here for Ashcroft. Up near centre wing. But he's got no one to give it to. He gives it to a broad space of green. Hodgson's there.
Yes, he actually pushed out quicker. Hodgson, a Champion, really had to push out because that was the only place the ball was going to go. But Hodgson actually got into the percentage spot first and marked the ball.
Ian Turner's found Brown. Brown the kick looking there for Stuart Lowe. And the big hands of Stewie Lowe. The mark tries to clear Trent Bartlett away from the mark. And only the way Stewie can. Now there's a player free. It's Traianides. He's coming to the contest. He comes in and takes the mark as everyone stands around and looks. Traianides takes the mark, plays on now. Burke's run down. Burke, good work by White to clear it. Boyd was there to help him out, and Boyd to Matthew Kennedy. Takes a bounce. Will he take Cook on? The support from Bews as Kennedy kicks up the wing and finds Jason Ackermanis. Late inclusion in the team last week, kicked 3 goals. The kick long towards Keating. He comes out over the back of Knowles. Chris Scott can't take possession. off the ground. The Saints will do well here because Burke has it. He gives to the run of Winmar. Nicky Winmar takes the bounce. He's run to the 50. He's thinking about a goal now. Winmar with a long kick. Going back wide. He's on his own. And it's just pulled across the front anyway. So they're behind the Nicky Winmar.
There's a bad turnover there on the half-back line. Just a kick off the ground. All the St Kilda midfielders were trailing their Brisbane players forward, but all of a sudden they were in possession. Could have made more of that.
Well, Nicky Winmar have to put up with the booze all night, right to the end. His disposal and handling hasn't been all that he would have wanted at the start of his performance tonight. 5-point lead to the Saints. Farewell, Rat. Thanks for the memories, Andrew Bews. Lappin out of defence. Across the half-back line. Jones giving chase. White is there with Everett. Darryl White goes off the ground and finds touch.
Just to keep you up to date with the benches, Drew, Sirakowski, Keogh, Thompson and also Timmy Elliott for St Kilda. And for the Lions, we've got Matthew Clark, O'Brien and Bradshaw and Brad Boyd.
And the field umpire has said to the boundary umpire, I think we might have another go at that one. It didn't really get more than 5 metres inside the field of play.
Thanks very much, Scott McLaren. We'll embarrass your mate like that in front of national television. Whistle's gone. Harvey dashes away, kicks to centre half forward. Cook, good contest. Kennedy over his shoulder. Free was going to be paid. Advantage to McLaren. The kick in the goal square, bouncing away from goal, and Bartlett back in the last line. Clears well. Boyd, great to see him back. Put a pre-season on Brad Boyd and he could be a different proposition next year.
Well, they certainly want to be, as will many of his teammates, and in particular this fella, Luke Power. He's had a reasonable first year. Probably didn't expect to play much football this year, but was a Norwich Rising Star nomination. He won't be happy with that kick, though, because Winmar was there. Good tackle by Kennedy. Mitchell has some time into the centre. There's a couple of Saints there in Knowles and Trinides. Knowles takes it, gives it off to Matthew Lappin. Lappin towards and finding Big Stewie.
He had to sit down. Poor old Trent Bartlett was caught underneath the ball. Didn't grab the ball first go, of course, but Big Stewie, when he's able to take the one step and just use Bartlett's back as a launching pad and the good balance in the air to take it at the third grab.
He's big enough as it is, even when he's putting his foot in the back.
Yeah, pushing the ball under the ball. Done a pretty good job to this point, Bartlett, but he's as we've many times, very, very strong hand, Stuart Lowe. 4 marks already.
So Stuart Lowe looking to become the third big man to kick the first 3 goals. Cook and Everett have 1 each. So they're sharing it around from 30 metres directly in front. The umpire moves well across. Body language says he's missed.
Hard to kick them worse than that.
No, I just think...
Yes, no, I guess, as Norm Goss said at quarter time, the game has really not quite reached its fever pitch at this point.
The word he used is flat.
A bit flat, yeah, it's funny how...
Did you say fever pitch? It is absolutely flat down here on the boundary line.
So Hart kicks in. Well outside the 50. Plenty of Brisbane players there. Black, good hands. White, Black to White. Ashcroft marks it half forward.
You've been dying to say that one, haven't you, Drew?
Yeah, just popped up, just one of those things.
Black and White working well together.
Black again up towards the edge of the goal square. Champion in the middle, but it was punched away. Mitchell going round the boundary line and eventually walked over the line for a throw-in. 1 straight kick the difference. It's 8 scoring shots to 7, but just 3 goals between them for the night. Here's a chance for the Saints. Harvey has it to Winmar. Just about his first clean receive and give. Peckett up towards half forward, punch to the front. Trinides lively since he came off the bench. Good ball, left foot kick by the ex-soccer player. Offline and through for a minor score. St Kilda not much better than the Lions. 2-7 to 1-6.
Truly encouraged then by Bartlett. I was going to say, Dipper, he actually just had Stuart Lowe step on his back when he had that shot of goal, but when he had to back into the front of the pack there at centre half back, he did it.
He certainly did, but that forward line is certainly not working for St Kilda. They've 2 or 3 times they've kicked into just empty spaces.
Kennedy has found Bartlett. Dipper, what's the breeze like down there? Is it a difficult conditions to score goals?
No, not at all, Matty.
So Bartlett looking for Ackermanis, not usually good overhead. Keating does well, gives it back to Boyd. Ackermanis has run on. Boyd has spotted him while he runs inside the 50. He likes to finish these. They need him to, and he's missed. So he'd be disappointed with that.
You got to finish those. I mean, I guess everyone's trying, but that's the difference between when you can win a game and lose a game. When you're really running through, he broke through the 50-metre mark. That was good. He balanced. He did everything right, really. But yes, it's a wasted opportunity, that one.
So again, goals hard to come by. Lynch has done well from the kick in, read the kick, and has forced the boundary throw in just inside their own, or just outside their attacking 50. As Andrew Bews in his last game, his 282nd game, looks on. Keating, Everett doesn't go up, he stays down. Black, another little quick give towards Tristan Lynch to Boyd. Boyd is very good in close, he finds White. Darryl White kicks it high, but again pushes to the right. No score this time. And another attacking foray by the Lions.
There's pretty good signs, I reckon, for Brisbane. I think what you often find in round 22 is the side that knows it's their final game of the year plays with a kind of freedom, knowing there's no next week. And St Kilda know there's finals coming up next week, and just at the moment, Brisbane are the team that are really playing with that freedom.
Darryl White takes a magnificent mark on the 50. Ball which he had no right really to claim as his.
Don't think he can make the distance here, and the St Kilda players are certainly back in numbers, so very hard for much to come of this unless someone can take a jump on the end of the goal square.
Spider's on the mark, a bit like he was with the Brett Heady kick last week.
He's just shortened it by about 10 metres, so you're going to have Lappin, who's going to just be probably 5 metres closer, but that 5 metres makes an enormous difference. Again, Lappin will be kicking from the 50-metre mark, should kick the distance.
Peter Everett has marked the mark, and he's run back and coming forward to try and spoil. Lappin's kick offline. It's over the line. The behind.
Just on the breeze there, look, it's a little squirrely down here, but there's no advantage to either side. And so there's really no excuses for kicking these points.
So the margin 5 points, 3 goals 15 have been scored here with 11 minutes remaining in the first half. Again the kick in comes unstuck. Ashcroft didn't need to play on, he does. The champion, have they made him pay? They haven't. And well, the crowd's certainly frustrated. I am, Drew.
Yes, I mean that is really a terrific interception by Marcus Ashcroft, but he instinctively just flicked the ball on, and Champions had a kick under pressure. I mean, you mark the ball 25 metres out from goal. I think you really have a look at this. He got the interception, but just flicks the ball on very quickly. I mean, this is a real situation where I guess Champion could have kicked the goal. Everyone would have been happy, but I think 25 metres out, set shot, got to be a certainty to lay it off.
Yes, well, Wakeland this time had played on and found Stewie Lowe. Lowe's kick. Again, the Saints under a little bit of pressure with their disposal. The Lions manning up fairly well, but you wouldn't know it on the scoreboard. And that is someone's calf muscle. That calf muscle belonged to David Sirakowski. Boundary throw in centre wing. Lowe gets the punch away. Ashcroft going back with Jones. Jones the quicker of the two, but Ashcroft keeps his body over the ball. Nodding. Well done. Got through the traffic well. Boyd does likewise. Kicks inside the 50, looking for Nigel Lappin. With him is Gavin Mitchell. Lappin keeps it out in front of himself. Half a shepherd by Dick Frost gives him a little bit of time. Lappin spins, turns. Over the back, here's a chance for Chris Scott. He taps it to Johnson. Johnson, the quick give. They're mucking around with it. They're not going to get it. Brad Campbell clears for St Kilda. Crowd want a free kick, but it wasn't there. Ackermanis, are they going to bang it back in again? He does. Long, low and hard. Johnson from the back. Champion in front. Burke the punch towards the boundary line. And again, no score.
Tell you what is good news for Brisbane tonight. Brad Boyd, he's had 14 possessions. Of course, had a very frustrating couple of years. We've spoken about it many times. Only his 6th game this year, but he's certainly looking in pretty good touch in the midfield. There's been a very good quality player in his Fitzroy captaincy days.
Burke and Harvey combined to bring it out of defence. Andrew Thompson on the cricket pitch area. The ball's jolted out, and that's going to be 50.
It's a frustrating game, isn't it? They've kicked a number of points straight, Brisbane, and just a little bit of... He's a bit unlucky, I think, Kennedy, but certainly the ball was knocked out of Thompson's hands. I think he was just really crappling when he dropped the ball, but nevertheless, the umpire thought it was time wasting. Gives Thompson a chance to score.
Well, he's right in front, 45 metres out, and has kicked a goal after the 50-metre penalty.
Yes, and I think with the benefit of hindsight, when we have a look at the replay, I think it was an unlucky call. Certainly all he was doing was trying to man up on Thompson, and the ball fell clear. I don't really think that was a deliberately knocking it out of possession, but certainly was a good surging movement by St Kilda. Burke to Harvey, and then the spare player Thompson in the middle. And yeah, I think he was just trying to hold it to grapple onto him. I think that was an unlucky call, that one.
Roger Merrett talking to the runner. The message did go out to Matthew Kennedy. What would he say there, Lee? Would he just say, look, don't get into a situation where you can give a half one away?
At first look, it was probably be a bit more careful, I guess, because the coach Merrett wouldn't have had a benefit of the replay as we did.
Black from the boundary throw in court high will take the free kick. Lions have had more of the possession, but haven't capitalised on the scoreboard. Black low and hard, looking for Dick Foss and finding him. It's a beautiful kick. Dick Foss, who's never scored a goal in league football, sees an open goal square, kicks to the head of it, going up Boyd, he'd run down well, going back Hudgton, concedes the rush behind, margin back to 9 points.
Well, it's a bit cruel, it makes it look even worse at 110. He's run that over from about 15 metres out in the field of play.
Robert Harvey doing the kicking in after behind. We don't see that all very often. He's usually further downfield to try and be the next link player.
Well, he's done well. He's found Hudgton. Does it go? Ball jarred free again. So he gives the quick handball off to Wakeland. Saints have had a little bit of trouble getting it clear from their defensive 50. He's pushed it out wide, looking for Lappin. Good pick up on the half volley. Spins back towards Cook. Perhaps meant for Winmar because Cook got in the way, tackled, and a free kick to Tim Notting. So you just wonder how long Brisbane can keep attacking like this without scoring a goal. It's Tim Notting's kick. It's a one-on-one contest. It's Johnson, but Campbell stood his ground well, used a bit of strength. Thompson goes back to lend him a hand, and another free kick to Andrew Thompson.
That's frustration. I think we see it on the screen there and on Chris Johnson's face.
Thompson plays on to the outer wing. Contest of players. Bartlett up with the punch. Low. Intercepted there by Notting. Another boundary throw-in.
Just under 8 minutes remaining to half-time. We've had just 4 goals for the game. St Kilda 3-7, Brisbane 1 goal 10. Ackermanis lost it in the tackle. Burke. Well, it's a free kick to Burke. Crowd not happy with it. Keogh on for the Saints. Kick by Burke over the wing. Big pack leap by Clark, who's had a fair bit of time on the bench tonight. Tackle by Harvey, but the ball was pinned in, and umpire Troy Burton is going to ball it up. St Kilda came back to winning form last week with a narrow squeak against the West Coast Eagles. They won by 8 at Waverley in the wind and rain. Boyd gets the kick out. Mitchell. How about that? Holding the ball, so the crowd. And once again, the umpire will ball it up. But Brisbane's tale of woe has been a lot worse than St Kilda's. Saints lost 4 in a row before last week, but Brisbane have lost their last 7 in a row by an average of 57 points. Ball's underfoot, and the umpire will ball it up again. So out of a very poor season where they've won just 4 games, would you believe one of their victories was against St Kilda at Waverley earlier this season in round 7. They won by 17 points when Malloy kicked 6 goals. Another free to the Saints. They lead in the free kick stakes, 13-9. Andrew Thompson inside the 50, overrun by Jones, and the ball jolted out for a throw-in.
More importantly, Drew, I mean, with those stats 13-9, that's 22 free kicks, and we're still a good 6 minutes of playing time before half-time, so you're looking at 25, 26 free kicks for the half. Lowe wins the tap, well, to Burke's advantage. Burke on hands and knees, looks up, gives it back to Stewie Lowe. His kick towards the danger zone, looking for Everett. Over the top went White, got in the back of Everett, and I think the replay will show that's probably fair enough.
Yeah, he just got a bit mesmerised by Everett's height wide. He knew that he had to really take a jump at it, but really missed the ball by a long way, and in the process it actually got into Everett's back, so an obvious free kick.
So Peter Everett looking to kick his second for the evening to become the first multiple goal kicker. That would be very easy with the Lions. They've kicked one, and Everett's kicked the second, and the Saints go ahead.
Yes, you can only just, really when you think of it, a free kick to Everett, a 50-metre penalty before to Thompson. They've battled so hard, the Lions, for behind after behind, and then St Kilda have just got a couple of what you'd call unearned goals. Just can't afford to do that when you're struggling to score down the other end yourself, as Brisbane are.
So Peter Everett getting his second goal. Kennedy stands him in the goal square, but it was Darryl White who gave away the free. Winmar this time with a clean possession. Back to Harvey. He's kicked deep inside the 50. Bartlett at full stretch. Good mark. Goes close to the boundary line. Boyd, former Fitzroy skipper. Pack gathers near centre wing for the kick from Boyd. Flips off the hands to Peckett. Oh, he just blazed it away very high. Not much good for the forwards. And Boyd, well, they're playing kick to kick. Brad Boyd's got it again. To Bamford. Centering kick. White had to cover ground. They're still at centre half back. Now Kennedy up from the goal square. Everett giving a good chase, but Matt Kennedy backs himself and away he goes. Kennedy's kick to half forward is good. Johnson.
We're getting a lot of shots from the 50-metre mark. They just can't get within 40. They're just, all these shots are pretty much maximum distance kicks.
Johnson has kicked one behind tonight. 97 career goals.
I reckon he'll kick it.
Well, there you go.
50 metres right on. Good call, Lee.
Thank you.
Don't give up broadcasting for the other Cape.
Can I get a gold star for that? Different than he kick it. No, it was a good effort then by Chris Johnson. He's a good kicker of the football, and he was on the 50-metre mark, but straight in front, and he just had a nice direct kick through the line of the ball to actually break the goal-kicking drought for Brisbane.
So the margin back to 9 points. Lee Matthews seems to know everything Chris Johnson's going to do this evening. First to the goal square, then a goal.
Would like to see him on his own in full forward, I must say, just to see how that went for a while.
Well, it's back in his territory now. He appeared to get a shot, but it goes over the back. There's Nathan Burke working hard for the Saints. Mitchell also in there. Burke does well, looks for the boundary line and finds it. So Campbell on Johnson just appeared to really stand his ground.
He really looks in trouble overhead against Johnson Campbell, and as I say, I really would like to see them one out as a genuine full forward position there.
Ashcroft got the quick kick and Hutchison got the little tap.
They're working hard, they are, aren't they?
It's been, inside their 50s.
Oh yeah, they're working hard in there. They just can't get the score on the board very proficiently, but they're certainly working.
Well, I don't think that score's correct because the behind actually went to the Lions. So the margin back to 8 points. The big leap from Boyd. He's had many possessions. On hands and knees gets the handball away to Johnson. The former Fitzroy players trying to combine, but Harvey intercepted. Harvey found Winmar, and Winmar to low. Of course, who ran onto it? Robert Harvey. So some experience there. Sirakowski. Winmar ran on. Just great example of running midfield football by the Saints. Up to the contest, and Joey McLaren takes a good mark.
Good grab, wasn't it? They certainly were trying to spoil the Brisbane defenders, but the ball transferred so quickly. That's one of the things at Brisbane. I think they're getting too many players into their forward line when the ball is stuck in there for the ball ups and the boundary throw-ins. And when the thing does rebound, St Kilda have got all the space forward, and really McLaren just used that to actually leap at the ball. Good mark.
So Joe McLaren looking for the Saints' fifth. from 30 metres, almost directly in front. No problems. His first.
Yes, I think we'll find here, Brad Board's been terrific. We mentioned that 18 possessions, but I think having missed most of the year, he'll probably fade. I couldn't see him playing out a strong 4 quarters. I think you've got Clark Keating in the same category of players who, not that Keating's done a great deal tonight, but they're just going to have trouble playing out the game. So whether the Lions can keep up the pressure at the moment just to hold on to St Kilda, that will be the big ask in the second half.
Back in the middle for the bounce, just over 2.5 minutes to go to half-time. And umpire Troy Burton just getting some perspiration perhaps off the ball before he bounces. Might have gone into the construction site, picked up a bit of rubbish in there. Clark and Everett went at it pretty hard. Boyd, another touch. How well's he going? Lapping back to Boyd, another one. Inside the 50. Black leaves it for Ashcroft. He straightens up and goes for goal. Marcus!
They are getting into the half-forward line, the Brisbane midfielders. That's one thing. They're attacking aggressively. When they are getting the ball out of the centre square, they're chasing in after it, Boyd. And Ashcroft, another quick kick by Boyd in those centre square crushes. It's amazing. 2 quick kicks forward by Boyd. If you can get the ball running 10 or 15 metres in your direction, inevitably your other midfielders will run onto the loose ball. Good play.
The Lions third a result of a quick clearance out of the centre square. They lead in that department 6-3. Bounce favours Everett. Ashcroft again, make it 7-3. Ashcroft has some space and time on the lead. Johnson! And the crowd at the Gabba come alive with a bit of noise.
Yes, he has been pretty impressive in there, Johnson. Again, they've all been marks. It's not, he's really supposed to be a crumbing player, but what he's done has been able to mark the ball. That's his 5th mark. This will be his 6th kick and going for his 3rd goal.
Well, one
second goal, sorry.
He needs to kick it to give the momentum or to maintain the momentum.
And the difference from when he kicked from the 50-metre mark was the 50-metre mark, he knew he would have to kick firmly, and he kicked through the line of the ball. From 30 metres out, he tried to steer it, leant back, came off the line of the ball. It's one of those things that players must do. They must kick the ball firmly, even from close in.
So it's their 12th behind. An incredible scoreline for the Lions. Wakeland told to kick it. Does so. Tall timber out there is Stuart Lowe, but Bartlett, I think Bartlett got confused which way he was going there. He took off in the wrong direction. Stewie Lowe, of course, thinking he's trying to play on Lays the tackle, and you can't blame him for that.
I think that's the call. He is darted off the wrong way.
Yep.
Could have called play on very easily, the umpire, I guess, couldn't he?
I think he was a bit fortunate, actually. But it's gone back to Peter Everett, who's marked inside their defensive 50. 1.5 minutes to go in the first half, 7 points the margin. McLaren gets the punch. Sirakowski does well, tackled by Kennedy. Moving forward, the ball comes now to McLaren. He's got a player out wide. It's Thompson. Thompson runs into the open goal from 40 metres and makes them pay.
Yes, they've almost been standing the ways they've scored St Kilda. It's the surge, the rebound out of the Brisbane forward line, where Brisbane have got a lot of players forward of the ball, and when the ball came out, all the space is in the St Kilda forward line, and as long as they could hold possession, Thompson just drifted down the centre corridor, received the last hand pass and kicked the goal.
Well, the Lions were struggling to get goals, but so were the Saints. But the goals have been coming in the latter half of this second quarter now. 6-7 to 3 goals 2. 3 goals 12, rather. McLaren. Burke kicks straight into Lappin. Lappin's hand pass all right, taken by Boyd. He's knocked up getting the leather. Clark keeps it low. Dick Voss! Denny! Off the ground, Chris Scott. Jones is back there for the Saints. On the turn, kicks to centre wing. Peckett overruns it. Brown is there. Bamford with him. Clever socket by Peckett. And he followed up. The kick to the 50, Andrew Thompson again. Fires off the hand pass. Here come the Saints in the direction of Everett. Well, Clark got in front of him. Blind hand pass. Keogh's there for St Kilda. Back to Mitchell. Caught by Hart. The Lions having a real go. Hart gets the kick away to the 50. Keating is there with a bit of bulk. There goes the siren just as the Lions are working down into attack. Well, they trail by just 13 points and they've had so much on their forward line, they could be in front.
3 goals, 6 they kicked that quarter. They certainly worked hard for not a great result on the scoreboard. St Kilda were able to kick 4 goals, 3 from probably limited opportunities forward. It was just much better finishing in the forward 50 has got St Kilda this half-time lead.
So the coaches getting ready to have a word to their charges at half-time. A 13-point lead to the Saints.
Siren again. And yeah, so interested to see why Chrissy Johnson's off. I'll just check if he's injured or not.
Start of the second half here. Well, a couple of quick snags here by the Lions and they'll be right in this contest because St Kilda haven't kicked all that accurately either. Harvey, Bamford. Lowe got a touch to it, comes to Bartlett. The whistle's gone and just after the ball disappeared there's a free kick to Bamford and it'll come all the way back to Scotty Bamford to take it from half back. Saints by 13 points. And Bamford 13 possessions in the first half. And all the players are over on the far side of the ground. There's nobody on the broadcast side. Comes to Brown. His hand pass back to Winmar, who hasn't handled cleanly tonight. That was better. Low marks. Winmar goes back for a second dip at it. The hand pass comes into Knowles on the run, and Knowles goals!
Yes, he was very impressive last week against the Eagles. Knowles hasn't played a lot of football, really. He's only played 8 games. Today would be his 9th, but this was a good finish, really, wasn't it? It was a good build-up by St Kilda. They brought the ball back into the centre corridor. Lowe played the ball on, which was good play, got the ball running, and ran through the 50-metre line to score it comfortably.
Brett Knowles is first for the evening after last week racking up 30 possessions with his 7th scores the goal. Back in the centre, the 19-point margin. Knowles once again punches forward. Winmar is involved early in this third quarter. The handball was smothered by Bamford. Sirakowski in there. Quick little give from Ashcroft to the advantage of Boyd. We talked about his first half. That was his 22nd possession. Ackermanis just drops it. It goes through his legs. But it falls to Darryl White. Now Darryl White on the wing looking to set something up. Out in front of Ackermanis. Coming through Peckett. Lappin. Looks for support. Finds it in Dick Foss. Dick Foss breaks the tackle. Bamford not clear from him by Mitchell. Peckett can't get anywhere. And the ball up will be by umpire Scott McLaren.
Matthew, I've just checked with Chris Johnson. Everything's okay there. And the bench for St Kilda is Keogh, Thompson, Trianides and Tim Elliott.
Thanks, Tipper. 19 points the margin. Clark. Knowles, quick kick. Harvey back in defence. Searching upfield. Straight down the middle. One-on-one running contest. McLaren, who has express pace, does well, gets clear, kicks long. There's only 2 players up forward, 1 from each team. It's Everett and Kennedy. Everett trying to keep possession. Kennedy that loses his balance. Hart lends support, and the Lions get out of trouble. Now they've got something going here as Boyd takes the mark. Goes backwards a little bit for Chris Scott, directly facing the goal. Kicks inside the 50, but poor kick from Chris Scott. And considering the clean possession that Boyd had, a disappointing finish because Cook took the mark.
Got to carry the ball a bit further, don't you? No use just kicking it to a contest when you've got space to run it.
Lappin takes the mark for the Saints. Into McLaren. Everett at full forward with the height and the position. Can't take the mark. Rovers wanted. Andrew Thompson. Well, he's robbed of the ball by power. Great play by the youngster and worked to the line by Kennedy. There was a sticky situation for the Lions, but they got out of it. And well done to young Luke Power in his first season, playing just his 9th game. Recruited from the Oakley Chargers. Bartlett runs it through for a rush behind for the Saints. Saints can look forward to finals next week. The Lions season ends here tonight with an inglorious wooden spoon after being finalists the last 3 years.
Ashcroft chips short, finds Boyd.
Well, if he's going to knock up in the second half, Lee, I'm waiting for it. He's still getting plenty of it.
Yeah, he's still finding it early in this third quarter.
But what he can't find at the minute is an option, so he has to kick to the contest. It's all St Kilda. They both have a bit of it in Sierakowski and Lowe. It's 3-on-1 there for the Lions. Darryl White, the only line. And not happy about something with the umpire there. But the result will be a ball up.
Yeah, the little players are playing all right, or they're on ballers, I should say, but certainly their marking players for Brisbane are being, their whole spine really isn't, from defence to attack, is not really looking like getting the ball in the air.
Ashcroft gave it back to Bamford. Bamford, a wobbly old kick with the left foot. Now's a chance for St Kilda with the numbers as Harvey turns back to where it came from because he spotted Mitchell. Mitchell takes the mark. Centre wing. Kevin Mitchell. The Lions have bottled it up, but there's a player loose. It's Burke. Looking to set it up. Aussie Jones now. Kicks it up high. Going back. Doing well was Lappin. Did he take it? No. Kennedy knocks it clear. Lynch. Back to Ackermanis, put him under a little bit of pressure. Ackermanis with what can only be described as an inventive kick, and thanks to a terrific mark by Tristan Lynch, Ackermanis gets out of jail.
He's not exactly sure what he was trying to do with the ball then. Maybe this is exactly what he was trying to do, but Lynch made it good.
They've decided to switch the play back to the other side again, and again it's Marcus Ashcroft.
They're switching the play all right, but they're having trouble getting players out, as they've done here. This is one of the few occasions they've switched play and had players out on the opposite side of the ground waiting for it to come out.
Black has received it from Bartlett. He'll look to run onto his left foot. Here's the kick, looking for going back Lappin. Keating also there with Hudson. Peckett, cool and calm in defence, works it out to the outer side with Aussie Jones.
The underground hand pass. Mitchell in the red boots. Kicks to the centre of the ground. Winmar streams down after it. Went straight past it. Ackermanis is there. It's a longer kick than his last one. Not a bad one either. Out to Black. Black's kick inside 50. Looks promising. And, well, he's hardly had a touch. In fact, his stats are 0-0-0. But finally, Daniel Bradshaw has the ball inside 50. His first touch for the night. Saints by 20 points. A goal would be handy. This boy sometimes has looked as though he could be anything. Kick started right, stayed right, 4 behind. Yes, just hasn't come on this year, like you might have expected.
Yeah, Bradshaw and Keating, neither of whom have taken a mark. They're the two tall key position players up forward for Brisbane, just not winning the ball in the air at all.
Good mark taken by Notting over Lappin. Typical Brisbane fashion, squares the ball to Sean Hart. Strong running by Hart. Sees Keating, and Lee, you are a genius.
Yes, well, he dropped into the spot. But you've got to square the ball, really. You've got to take the punt to bring the ball back into the centre corridor. Very dangerous if possession isn't maintained, but it does make it difficult for the defence when all of a sudden the ball has changed from outside in.
Will he kick it, Lee?
Might kick it.
Might kick it. So sitting on the fence, and it doesn't look as though he has. So another behind.
I was sitting on the fence, wasn't I?
Matthew, it's like he's saying he might coach.
Thank you, Dipper. But unfortunately, from the Lions' point of view, another behind. So 3 straight kicks in it, even though the Lions have 2 more scoring shots. Long kick in this time from Wakeland, deciding the long option. A one-on-one contest. The punch from behind by Clark. Harvey there with Bamford, going nowhere. Another ball
Yes,
up.
they could have had trouble moving the ball out of the back line after the kick-ins there, so they're working very hard, the Lions.
7-8 to 3 goals, 14. Burke gets it for the Saints. Hart. Well, it was a decent solid push on Trianides. Then Hart's down. 50 metre. 50.
I guess if the Kennedy one was a little bit late, I mean, consistency's there.
Let's have a look at this. Oh, the good play by Sean Hart then. Buckle the knees, you never know, you don't get the ball taking off you for posing for a free kick. And I think he saw the contact coming, went to ground, and why not try and milk the free kick? Pretty soft though, I would think. Yeah, I think Matthew Lappin bumped into him. I certainly don't think he sort of tried to knock him over or anything like that ilk.
So Hart right in front, a sitter, and he gets it. He hesitates to talk about a sitter in this game, but well, I was pretty confident he could get that one.
Well, I guess that evens it up, wasn't it, really? The one that Thompson kicked in the second quarter, I think, was probably a very fortunate 50-metre penalty, and I think this one was here. Lappin, oh, I guess he bumped into him, but really, I think Sean Hart milked it for all it was worth.
The Lions get it back to 12 points. They edge a little bit closer. Once again, the umpire washing the construction debris off the ball. As Stan Elves looks on with arms crossed. Obviously not too excited what he's seeing at the moment. But they're doing enough.
The building debris off the ball. That's an unusual football call, isn't it, really?
Thanks very much, mate. It only happens here during the construction.
Yeah.
A quick little handball from Knowles. Out in front of Jones, but Bamford with some pace. Does well, but misses Black. Gavin Mitchell, short kick, it's good enough because it found Everett. Everett swings around, and it was a good kick because he saw Stewie Lowe over the back of the first contest. Now Stewie is right on the 50 is where he's going to kick from.
He's got terrific foot skills, Peter Everett, isn't he? Beautiful kick of the ball.
So
this would test Stewie, wouldn't it, you would think, to kick the 50 metres goal, not something we probably would expect from Stuart Lowe.
So he'll kick from 51. It looks okay off the boot. It's going a bit across. There's a high fly. And Winmar tries to take it off the pack and doesn't. Just the behind of Nicky Winmar.
Just to keep up the date with the benches, boys. Glenn Dryburn, one of the goal umpires, is off the ground with a pull quad muscle, and Neil O'Brien has replaced him.
A goal umpire?
Goal umpire, yes.
He must have got tired after signalling all those lines behind. Peckett. Tried to centre the ball. Elliott's in the middle of the chop. Kennedy got hands to it. He dances out of trouble. Hand pass on the bounce. Ball flipped on by Boyd. And out of bounds just outside the 50. Here we go, umpire. So I wonder if that umpire's injury will get a report in the match report. Injuries and so on. Look at Robert Harvey. Almost stumbled to the ground. Recovered. Kicked a goal. There's a freak. Well, here's the Rolls Royce.
I think we saw one of the most exquisite skills that Robert Harvey possesses, that ability to change direction, to lose balance and not fall over. Let's have a look at this. He just sort of weaves his way through the heavy traffic, gets knocked, gets tripped, but doesn't go to ground. He just has got terrific balance to be able to regain his footing and kick the goal. That was a terrific individual effort then by Harvey.
So the reigning Brownlow medalist with his 18th possession, his first goal for the evening. Clark against Everett. To the advantage of Black, but Mitchell is in the way. And Mitchell gets the free kick for the push in the back. Gives off to the man who just kicked the goal, and Harvey. Left foot around the body. Bartlett gets in the back of Lowe. Advantage, no. Umpire's going to bring it back. Trianides not really being in a position where the advantage could be used. So Kilda just looking a little bit dangerous here. They could stretch the lead, but the kick is over the back. Hart there for the Lions. Quick kick. Is it too far? I think it is. No. Umpire has found the spot. Ozzie Jones doesn't look too perturbed about it, so perhaps it was a very good decision.
And Brad Boyd off the ground for the Lions.
Aha, Lee, you're right.
Must be for a
He's
spell.
tired.
You got Matthew Clark actually playing defence on Spider Everett, which I think he rucks saw okay, Matthew Clark, obviously, but as a defender against Everett's lead, that'll be a dangerous setup for the Brisbane team, I think.
Ackermanis, the short kick, the strong mark to Danny Dickfoss. to Chris Scott, who had a very good first quarter, didn't get a possession in the second quarter. His kick inside the 50, running onto it was Ashcroft, coming out Keating. Hudson does well, Burke back there as well, gets up off hands and knees, quick kick. St Kilda trying to work it away from the 50. O'Bree's on the ground, the quick kick high, the Lions need a mark, Bradshaw's there. Tristan Lynch between his feet. It's still play on. Mitchell gives it back towards McLaren. McLaren goes back to Jones, and now St Kilda should clear if Jones can find Lappin. He can't. Here's another chance for the Lions. Lynch stumbles a bit, gives it back to White. Chip kick to Hart. Thought about the quick one to O'Bree. There's a bit of a to-do behind play, and St Kilda are going to get the free kick.
Yeah, it was one of those rare occasions where White actually slung Sierakowski to the ground. Sierakowski was wrestling with Lynch. Most of the time these are just a warning issue these days, but umpire decided to reverse the free kick.
Great running again by Harvey. Lowered full stretch, couldn't quite take the mark. And the ball out of bounds near centre wing.
Yeah, we mentioned earlier in the game, Chris Scott had about 10 possessions to quarter time, but he's only got 12 now. He just seems like his ball getting is dried up in the second and third terms.
Thompson goes to ground. Well, here's Scott's opponent, Harvey, still getting plenty of it. Out to Peckett, now to Winmar. His left footer up high. Elliott's down there for the Saints. It gets to the back of the pack. Thompson trying to run onto it. The ball's still in. Pretty dangerous by the Lions. And eventually we'll have a boundary throw in alongside the behind post.
And as Chris Scott has started to stop getting the ball, I think Robert Harvey's getting even more of it. He's up to his standard 22 possessions halfway through the third quarter, so he's on track for 30 plus, which is pretty much an average game for Robert Harvey. Averages about 30 possessions a game.
There was Scotty in there getting a touch to Ackermanis. And now Black just behind centre wing. Margin 19 points in favour of the Saints. Not an impressive display. The Saints going into the finals next week. Lynch and the ball out of play. They went through that horror month where they had losses to Essendon, Adelaide, Hawthorn and Carlton before winning against the Eagles last week by just 8. And I wouldn't think they'd be patting themselves on the back flying home tomorrow after this performance unless they can roar home.
Now, it's been a pretty pedestrian game, I must say, to this point. Certainly, the St Kilda is a long way from the team that beat the Swans by 100-odd points in Sydney. Only probably a couple of months ago, maybe a little longer, but certainly at the moment they're going into September, just struggling a little bit to really produce their best.
Warren Vines looking on, a former Brisbane runner, now doing a little bit of work with St Kilda, so he lives in Brisbane and knows all the Brisbane players. Peter Everett over the ball to Harvey for possession number 10 for the quarter. To Ben Thompson, long raking kick by Ben Thompson. Kennedy gets back, takes a good mark. Well, he's had a good season, Kennedy. Probably finished in the top 3. He's played every game, along with Ashcroft and Darryl White. And has found Scott Bamford. Towards Matthew Clark. Lions trying to play on and set it up. Power to the run of Ackermanis. He's got some space ahead of him. No one coming towards him. 2 bounces. The kick is good. Lynch again thinks about going on.
Yeah, okay to think about it, but don't get sucked in. Yeah, and he's just made a certainty of it, or should be a certainty of it. A 35-metre shot from Nigel Lappin, who is a good kick of the ball. As long as he kicks it firmly and doesn't try to steer the ball through, just aim for the construction worker with a white helmet about 15 metres behind the goal umpire and try and drop it on his head.
Well, one feels that from the Lions' point of view, he needs to kick this. It's close, but it's good enough. So Nigel Lappin gets the Lions 5th.
Yes, that was a good transition, but really that's the only way they're scoring, of course, Brisbane. They're not going to, they just don't look like marking the ball in anything like a contest or even a conventional marking forwards lead in their forward zone. They were running the ball through the midfield and just chipping the ball around. That's the only way they're scoring, and it's hard to kick a really big score in that manner.
Well, not only wouldn't St Kilda be overwrapped in how they played, they might yet even lose the game. They only lead by 13 points. Clark beats Everett in the middle.
Yes, it only needs Brisbane to get a couple of quick goals, just to sort of really get the momentum going. They've been struggling to get goals on the scoreboard. That's been happening. They've been inaccurate. But you kick a couple of goals, all of a sudden, St Kilda could panic a little bit. So, yeah, there's plenty of work in this game.
Kick by O'Brien from the free kick midfield. Johnson into Hart. Have a look at this from Hart. Right to the goal square, across the face. And off the hands, out of bounds.
So I repeat again, the way he was playing against Campbell in the first half, I would like them to see how Chris Johnson would go as a small full forward against Campbell. Their marking players don't look like getting it. See if you can get a mismatch with a small, so-called small player, rather than your conventional key position players who are just not getting the ball for Brisbane.
We'll look out for that move next year, I think.
Oh dear.
No, snap for goal. Ashcroft. And through for another behind. That's 5 goals, 15, the Lions. Marcus Ashcroft hasn't missed a game for 6 seasons. A remarkable record.
Great resilience, isn't it?
137 games straight.
Campbell has received the kick in, sees Everett, finds him. Playing on to Burke. Burke goes back. Saints running through the middle, through the cricket pitch. Peckett sees Tristan Lynch in front of him, but finds Joey McLaren. Goes back 30 metres and behind Hudson, so a little bit of pressure there, but he's equal to it. To Ben Thompson, to Harvey, now starting to pick up possessions at will. Kick up forward, looking for Big Stewie. There he is, he couldn't take the mark. Power stayed down. Quick kick from him, relieves the pressure and finds the boundary line. And 12 points is the mark.
And that's, I was going to say that situation I've been talking about has presented itself, but Bradshaw is running back to the full forward position to make it a 2-on-2 situation back there.
Burke tunnelling through, is caught by Lynch. No prior opportunity to dispose of the ball correctly. And the ball up. We've got about just under 6 minutes remaining in the third quarter. 12 points the margin. Clark to do battle with Cook. It comes to Knowles. He does well. Thompson fumbles when he should have perhaps taken it cleanly. Knowles in there again. That's a clever give to Thompson. So take 2 for the Saints. But again, the skills from Thompson letting him down and the Saints down just the minor score.
Look, I'm not saying that it's a fait accompli that Lee has even been spoken to about the Brisbane job, but it just reminds me of a situation. I go back about 10 years ago. I was broadcasting with Kevin Bartlett when everybody knew that KB was going to be coaching the Tigers the following year. And in the last match for the season, he's in the commentary box and he watches his 2 best players, Mark Lee and Dale Waitman, both belt blokes. They got 4 weeks each. So when he started his coaching career, his 2 best players were sitting out the first month. And the Lions have worked this the length of the ground at Bradshaw, and Bradshaw will have a shot for goal from about 35 metres.
Well, he led into it well in Bradshaw. He really hasn't been able to do that. That's the standard play, the way he's going to get the ball, to really lead hard to space and really make himself a viable target. When he plays in that manner, he's shown a lot of promise.
So it's been a frustrating night for him. 2 marks coming up for his second kick. And a goal would make this pretty interesting. Make it a 7-point game. He's kicked it.
Good play.
Well, you'd better wake up, St Kilda, otherwise you mightn't even win it.
Yes, no, this game's very much in the balance, and what will happen, I guess St Kilda are already entrenched in the finals, but if all of a sudden the last game of the year and the Brisbane players really get a sniff of victory, they're going to play the game out like there is no tomorrow, which there is no tomorrow for them in regard to the 1998 season.
So the Gabba crowd sensing a little bit of comeback here. The noise is rising. Ashcroft again through the middle. Gets caught. Off the ground was Knowles. Couldn't quite get there. Champion back on the ground. Burke does well. Umpire coming quickly to wrest control away, but just sensing around the ground that perhaps the Lions coming back. 7 points the margin. Just over 4 minutes remaining. Big group of players around the ball in the centre here. About 25 out of the 36 odd out there. Almost made a good mathematical error there. Burke. Knowles trying to knock it on again. Perhaps needs to take possession there. But followed it up well.
That's the Hawks specialty.
Chuck a couple extra on.
The 100, you reckon the 100-metre player?
Oh,
He
yeah.
can run at 30 and kick at 60?
A wonderful call. Nathan Eagleson. Again, lots of players around the ball. I won't attempt to count them this time. O'Brien, who's getting some possessions. Out to Ackermanis. The kick long forward. Bradshaw's on the lead. Bradshaw! No. Cries of yes from the crowd, but umpire Kennedy was in perfect position.
Yeah, we didn't quite hold it well enough, but it was just about, wasn't it? He just had to hold it for marginally longer or to be able to grab it on the way down, but certainly that was not a mark.
Hodgson to Harvey. Harvey looks for the boundary. Sierakowski there with White. White slips over, usually keeps his feet. Here's a chance now for the Saints. Sierakowski goes through the wing, 2 bounces. There's not many up forward. Will he go short to Everett? No, he goes high and long. The mark, no, not taken. Thompson there with both Thompsons. Andrew it is that gives the handball away towards Cook. Cook, can he get clear? Goes through 2 of the Lions. Bamford back there again. He's under pressure, but the Lions are equal to the task. Bamford spots a far field. It's Ashcroft to the roar of the Gabba crowd. Ashcroft short, looking for Champion. Finds it. Gets paid the free kick but too high. Where will he go? The kick is to Black. Swings onto his left. Now short this time for Bradshaw again. He's got it this time. So Bradshaw coming alive in the 3rd quarter here at the Gabba, as the Lions feel as though they've got a spearhead that they can kick to.
Yes, all of a sudden when we mentioned that he hadn't taken the mark, he has led into the ball this time for the 3rd occasion and got the goal kicking range only a few minutes ago, so it would be a good chance to think that he can kick this.
Bradshaw to bring the Lions within 1 point. It's coming back, it's coming back! There's a huge leap on the line. A magnificent leap by Hodgson. And in the context of the game, that could be a terrific play.
Well, it was, yes. I mean, the goal umpire was in perfect position and he adjudicated that Hodgson had got up, but with the left hand, it was terrific play, making a point out of what looked like a certain goal.
Phenomenal link. White interfered and gave away the free kick to Lowe. One straight kick the difference. The last 2 minutes of the 3rd quarter. Lowe's kick over centre wing. Clark.
You can see their confidence just rising as this 3rd quarter's developed, Brisbane. All of a sudden, you know, that was the first time Clark has been able to leap into the mark.
Lappin. Bradshaw again. Now he's right out in the forward pocket on the boundary line. And if they can scrounge a goal here, they can level the score.
All of a sudden, the crowd's got involved. You can see the noise here, the noise level lifting as well, as the home side is really giving the crowd something to cheer about.
Toughest pocket on the oval.
Well, they've only got about half an hour of football left for the season. They might as well have a real dip. Bradshaw. Oh, great kick. He's levelled the scores.
Well, yes, hasn't this game turned around? When they got the first goal of the 3rd quarter, St Kilda just wondered whether Brisbane would crack a little bit. Brad Boyd's up having a spell. But all of a sudden, they've just owned the ball just this last 5 minutes of play. Brisbane and put St Kilda very much on the back foot.
So after struggling to get a possession, Daniel Bradshaw with 4 marks and 2 goals levels the score here for the Lions. They're on a bit of a roll. St Kilda will need to lift. They're playing for more than the Lions. Burke trying to lift his side. The kick goes forward. Lappin, a good attempt at the mark. Hart stayed down. Gives it back to Kennedy at ground level. He's done well. Backed himself in. Sean Hart. We've got 45 seconds to go in the quarter. Out in front of Bartlett. Bartlett. Left foot. Good skill to White. Well done by Sierakowski. White goes back. Goes to ground again. Finds the boundary line. Boundary throw in.
Yes, and it's good coaching by Roger Merrett, because he, now that Bradshaw has led into the ball a couple of times, He's left Bradshaw. Oh, well, Champion's running back into the line. Champion should be right upfield and letting Bradshaw have a go at it when his confidence is up.
Matthew Clark tackled, but Burke let go of him. On hands and knees finds Chris Scott. Chris Scott high, needs a mark. Champion comes out and marks. They've got their tail up. Champion does something silly, runs into trouble to Chris Scott. He's got a player on his own. He's got 10 metres. Black straightens, 30 metres out, left foot.
Come from. They trail by about 20 points and now they lead by 6.
Yeah, they're just taking control all over the field, Brisbane. Really, their midfield's been terrific. Their half back line has been terrific and good use of the ball then by Chris Scott. And he straightened up Black and straight over the goal umpire's head. Very good kick of the ball. Terrific patch of football this last 5 minutes by Brisbane.
Just 1 second on the clock. It's 3/4 time. And Brisbane perhaps heading for their second win for the season over St Kilda. What a third quarter. They trailed by 13 at half-time. They coughed up the first goal of the third quarter. And back they came in the last 6 or 7 minutes. And lead at the last change, 8-16 to 8-10. And with more accurate kicking, they could be a long way in front. What a last quarter we look set for at the Gabba. Yes, well, if the Saints finish in the first 4, they'll get a home final, but you don't want to be finishing 6th because you might be travelling to, say, Sydney. Everett on the ball. It comes underfoot. Ackermanis has it for the Lions. Hand pass into Hart. Hart's left footer inside half forward. They dash back into space. Well done, Bradshaw, to work his opponent off the ball. He left it for Lappin. He's only 40 metres out. Lappin shot offline. And it floats for a behind. The lead is 7 points.
As we see Simon Black, Clark Keating and Danny Dickfoss on the bench, Nigel Lappin would be a little bit disappointed with that kick because he had some space and time. But 7 points the margin. Brad Boyd back on for the Lions after a spell, and as Dipper mentioned, Andy Bews on for the last quarter of his career. The kick from Wakeland to the one-on-one contest, the ruckman, Everett and Clark. Clark held his ground in front. Harvey went to the right spot, gets a quick kick, goes towards the boundary line and finds it.
Lee, when you finished your career, it was a losing grand final. I'll never forget the images there.
Yes, I guess if you've got to go out, grand final day is not a bad way to do it, but not on a losing one, I guess. So it was a sad day all round, that game back there in 1985, a long time ago now.
Burke does well. Kicks it up towards Brown and Bews. Brown taps it forward. Power goes back. Little kick with his wrong foot to Chris Scott. Just covers the 10 metres required. Scott spotted Boyd. Makes him stretch. Clark there as well, though. Clark forward. Big punch away over Ashcroft by Knowles. But from the point of view of the Lions, they've come out starting this last quarter well. They've continued their momentum from the third quarter. Nathan Burke trying to gee up his side. Everett to do battle with Clark. Crowd starting to trying to lift the Brisbane, the home side. Boyd in there with Knowles and Burke.
I was just wondering how much of a G-up would it be? Let's do it for the Rat. Let's do it for Bewsy in his last game.
Oh, I think they're big emotional lifts, particularly when it's the last game. There's a whole lot of footy you play, 22 games a year potentially, but when you get to the last game, it's a different psychology altogether. And the fact that it's a well-respected, well-liked player such as Andrew Bews, well, that just is another factor to really lift players to say, well, 30 minutes to go, we might as well give it everything. Don't leave anything in the tank.
And White got very high. Ashcroft gains a few metres, gets crunched into the fence by Harvey.
And, you know, we know that St Kilda are playing for the top 4 position. We know that Brisbane are anchored on the bottom of the ladder. But you look at these two teams tonight, you would say Brisbane are trying harder. I mean, all footballers try their hardest, but no doubt tonight the Brisbane players have got the body language. They look like they're just keener.
And here's a Lions free kick to Matty Clark outside of his kicking range. They lead by 7 points. Scott, Hart, pops it up high. Bradshaw comes to the front. Boyd steps around and kicks a goal. Well, It's hit the post. Boy, oh boy. And I wonder if that poster will have the same sort of impact that a poster by Leon Cameron at the MCG last night had. Lost the game by 5 points. Had it been a goal, could have been different.
I think the way Winmar missed that tackle, and I think one of the things that is really indicative of a team that's working hard is how well they're tackling, and I think St Kilda have missed a lot of tackles tonight.
Notting punches forward. Quick kick by Scott. Is it going to land in Bradshaw's arms? It is. With everything going right here for the Lions, Bradshaw's come alive. He's given them a target. And just a disciplined play from the kick in, punching back, man in front.
Yes, they really have to go and do something to turn this around. St Kilda. Brisbane really have got all the initiative, all the momentum going from late in the third quarter, and just at the moment in this last quarter, they've owned the ball in their forward half.
Bradshaw for his third. And has squeezed it through. The Lions go further ahead.
Yes, well now Stanells has to find something to respond. He's actually put Aussie Jones into the goal square against Scott Bamford as a potential mismatch in the forward half, but somehow or other they've got to get control around the midfield area. Just at the moment, Robert Harvey getting a bit of the ball, Nicky Winmar and Nathan Burke are the other midfield trio, but just at the moment, Brisbane winning all the contests.
Worried look for Stan Alves here. Why wouldn't he be worried? The Lions beat the Saints at Waverley, so why wouldn't they beat them up at home? Clark and Everett. Everett flips the ball on for himself, roves his own footy. Spider Everett on the run, a long, long kick. Great football for a goal.
Yes, we tell many times about the foot skills of Spider Everett, and when he ran towards the 50-metre line and he had a bit of time to balance, he was always going to make the distance. It was good follow-up work by the big fella. He knocked it forward, collected it again. I think that's what you call a solo goal from the centre bounce.
Well, reminiscent of his great goal earlier in the year against the Eagles, I think it was, where he went all the way, stumbled, took a bounce, did everything and then kicked it. So
Freo, actually.
Freo,
Same
yes, it was
venue,
in West
Freo.
Australia. So, Big Spider keeps the Saints within touch. Back to 8 points. Clark down towards Boyd, goes without it. So does O'Brien.
You know, I've got to say, I don't think I can ever recall one player, only one player touches the ball from the centre bounce to a goal. Like Spider was the only person who touched the ball after the field had left the field up by his hands.
That's true.
Clark, that's a first.
This time it's O'Brien's tackled by McLaren. He's not going anywhere. The umpire agrees. So 8 points the margin.
How did Jeff Fairing get it that day at Moorabbin?
Remember, he's not that good, that's true. He kicked a long goal, I remember that.
Picked
but
it
I
up
think it
and
was a free
booted
kick,
it.
wasn't it? Yeah.
Spider again. Burke looked to be caught high, but he's not going to get the free kick. Nathan Burke has worked hard at the bottom of the packs, hasn't had a lot of possessions. He averages about 24 possessions, only the 15 this evening. Again, Everett wins it. Burke again in close, the punch, Notting. Sees Ackermanis, around the body Ackermanis, high, the contest, up they go, Lynch from behind, low percentage jump that, Ashcroft went off the ground, it fell into Champion's hands, here's the man of the moment, Bradshaw, good punch by Hudson, they've made a switch there, Stanells, Ashcroft up the ground, goals! His second, Brisbane's 10th.
Yes, again, the midfield possession, the midfield flurry was eventually won by Brisbane. This ball goes back and then Ashcroft, the little kick off the ground and the push forward. Have a look at the Brisbane numbers that have converged on the ball in front of the goal square. Yeah, they look like they want to win this, no doubt about that.
Well, an incredible turnaround. And now a 14-point lead to Brisbane. They've won it in the middle again. Champion to Ackermanis. His kick inside the 50. Lappin. He gets the free kick. Scott wants to take advantage, but he's got to come back. Free against Peckett.
Adrenaline and confidence, isn't it an amazing thing? They really struggled hard, valiantly in the first half, Brisbane, with very little result, a lot of frustration. But as the scoreboard has started to tick over in the goals column, all of a sudden they're running harder. They're the one with the early urge for the contest. St Kilda sadly are lacking that at this point.
Didn't look like much of a free kick.
No.
Lappin, 50 metres from goal. High,
It's a
long.
whistle.
Another whistle. It's a 50-metre penalty. Man on the mark, got over the mark. And so now this is a gift goal to the Lions as Lappin takes his 50 and will pop it through from a metre out.
This means St Kilda have to score 4 goals from this point, so it puts them a long, long way. A lot of work to do to get back into this game.
Well, it looked an ordinary free kick in the first place. Now it's a very ordinary goal.
It's a lot more scoring shots, isn't it? 10 more scoring shots. So really, when you're talking about who's dominated the game, there's no doubt about in general play. They've had 40-odd more kicks, about the same number of hand passes. No doubt Brisbane have been the best side on the night, no matter what happens from this point onwards. But all of a sudden now they've also opened up a margin on the scoreboard.
And all of a sudden the Lions are kicking goals, not behinds. 20 points now the margin, plenty of time left in the game, but the momentum definitely with the home side. The bounce in the centre, taken by Campbell. Everett's up there again looking to repeat the performance. Coming out was Jones, he led to the ball, a lucky bounce for Bamford, but he gives it up. Brown, beautiful give to Lowe to Keogh, trying to get onto his left foot, tackled well by White. Good work by the Lions. Bamford comes back. He better be careful. Boyd back there, finds the boundary line. Is it a try? It is.
Actually, the Saints working a pretty similar ploy because they had Aussie up there in the goal square with Bamford.
Yeah, well, they're trying to do that, but at the moment they've got no run into the midfield. So I guess at the moment it's not really their work in their forward goal square, I suspect, from St Kilda. They've just got to somehow trying to get a bit more of the ball around the middle of the field. Just at the moment, the Lions have taken over in that part of the game.
They hadn't found the boundary line. Cook's tapped it to Burke. Burke with the banana kick. Unfortunately for him, just a behind. He does well from the boundary throw-ins and from the ruck contest, Burke. He's usually first to it, but this time only behind.
He balls in from the defensive side, runs through the contest, and every now and again will take the ball with him. Burke does it well.
16 possessions, Burke. Harvey's had 26. Chris Scott. Bamford just outside the defensive 50. Kick up towards centre wing. Clark in the middle of the pack. Ackermanis climbing. Everyone's pumped full of confidence. Thompson gets a hand pass up to Brown. Power at the foot of the pack. Out to Andy Bews. Here he is. And it's his first touch for the night. First mark, first kick. Lynch couldn't take it. Along the boundary line goes Bartlett. And it spins away from Stewie Lowe. And things just not clicking for the Saints. They trail by 19 points. We've got 13 and a quarter minutes left. And the Brisbane fans are starting to hoot and holler and saying, gee, we're going to break this 7-game losing streak.
Thompson working hard, trying to burst through the tackle from Boyd. He does well. The quick little give to Chris Scott. It's an open forward line. Bradshaw beautifully taken on a half volley. Ashcroft, 30 metres. Well, you wouldn't believe it. Leave that one had gone through. That might have been it. I know it's a long way to go.
I reckon it's almost it now, even though we're only halfway through the third quarter. But yes, they terrific take by Bradshaw. Just came at the ball and took the half volley. Fed off the handballs. Terrific play. Give it to the overlapping player running through straight at goal. But Ashcroft, I think, again, just tried to steer the ball through.
Great mark to Lowe. Against two, with his great strength, just held his ground. Now hooks it round the body because he has two players, one of them in Campbell. To Thompson, he's going to run into Lynch, but he gets it on to McLaren. McLaren now will go long. Saints need something up forward. Here's the contest between Jones and Bamford. And Stan Elves will be happy the way that's worked out because too much strength there from Jones.
Yeah, in the one-on-one contest, I guess Aussie Jones isn't that big, but Scotty Bamford makes him look like a giant, really, in terms of strength. So, yeah, too good in the marking contest there.
So, can the Saints make Ashcroft pay? It's a 2-goal turnaround. Well done, Aussie.
Yes, it's really the first time for a while they've been able to take the ball the length of the ground. Certainly the good, strong, low mark from the kick-in set it up, but he played the ball on quickly, and they were under pressure, but they were able to maintain control of the ball, and then, yeah, just in the end, Jones just pushed off Bamford to make a certainty of it.
Well, a big goal for Aussie Jones and the Saints. They're within 14 points now. Whistle, free kick in the middle.
And they do annoy coaches. There's when the game's tight, a centre bounce free kick, and it's against St Kilda.
Long to full forward. Lapping a big climb. Just gets rid of the hand pass in time. Away to Shane Wakeland. And the kick to the 50 to Andrew Thompson. Under 12 minutes left. Kick by Thompson to centre wing. Comes underfoot, the whistle didn't go. McLaren's hand pass comes into Harvey. The Formula One of the Rolls Royce. Everett. Too far out to score, Spider. He centres the ball to Nicky Winmar. They've had to change stride to go back for it. Winmar pokes it up. Harvey, look at the amount of ground he's covered. Here's Robbie Harvey again. Hooks it back towards the goal square. And Brown trying to rope it, went without it.
Well, you can see this is the rearguard action by St Kilda. I mean, really the game comes down to this point, and they've just the last minute or two just lifted the intensity just sufficiently. Got that one goal, and now they're pushing.
Well, they're running hard. Harvey covered 100 metres there and just left Darryl White in his wake. Tim Notting, the quick kick. Lappin does well with strength on Peckett. Found the room to take the mark to Ackermanis. Will he get around Cook? Very easily. Takes a bounce. He likes to run. It's confidence when he does. The kick. Oh, Bradshaw. Couldn't mark it. Hudson slipped over. Ashcroft in there again. And Hudson will clear. No, Champion gets him. Here's another chance for Bradshaw. Gets around. What will he do with it? The kick from the pocket. A tight angle.
Daniel Bradshaw hadn't touched the ball. He's kicked 4 goals. Just amazing. Hasn't had a lot of the ball, only had 7 possessions. But those 4 goals and a terrific chase and tackle by Champion. Turned the ball over, and from the acute angle, they were listening to everywhere early in the game now, but not now. Brisbane in front.
What a comeback by Bradshaw. You'd said half an hour ago that he'd finished with 4 goals. Oh, you'd have been committed. Just couldn't get a touch. Clark out of the middle. Bounces off Lappin to Thompson. Oh, he's chucked it. Back to Lappin. Here's Bews. In his last game. He leaves it for the youngster Power, but he'll get it back. Bews from just behind the wing. Too high for Boyd. And the ball skims out of bounds. 20-point lead to the Lions, so that's not half bad.
I hate to say it, but in 282 games, I reckon there was a little bit of nerves there from Andy.
The Lions happen to win this, they end up the season with 5.5 wins, is that correct?
Yes.
Do they lose their concessional draft choices?
You picked it in one dipper.
Well, it looks as though they're playing with absolutely scant regard to draft picks.
Now, players don't concern themselves with such matters, and neither they should.
Thompson, low. Bartlett brings it to ground. Low, the hand pass to Burke. Burke's kick to a vacant centre half forward. Oh, same direction as the ball, Lynch. Good courage there.
Yes, he was up there a long time. He certainly would have been thinking about it, but took the mark. Out wide the Champion. Well, he was thinking about it before he took the mark. Wakeland, not a good kick. Lynch has backed him, run on. And some time now for Darryl White to do one of his little chip kicks to the wing to Sean Hart. 20 points the margin, 9.5 minutes remaining in the game. The Lions have come from behind and look to have control, but still plenty of time for St Kilda as Hart goes forward. Harvey, great courage, gets back in front of Bradshaw. And for possession number 30, so he's one off his average, gives it over to Brown. Brown with the left foot, over the top of Bews. Keogh went to ground, could be costly. Power. Oh, clever kick by Power over Scott's head because he saw a big space. Boyd provides the shepherd. Scott to 50. Hooks it once more. Going back Ackermanis. And again Chris Scott hooks his kick towards goal. the margin now 21 points. Chris Scott.
Yes, I think you forgive players a little bit when it gets very late in the game to really running hard at the goals, because fatigue, it's easy from the commentary box to tell them to run another 20 metres, but they're all getting a bit tired as you get towards the end of the final term. And I think blood rule, Brett Cook leaving the field.
Well, after Roger Merrett took over from John Northey, the Lions had a bit of a yelp. They drew their first game, won their next 2. But after that, the honeymoon period was suddenly over and they lost 7 in a row. And isn't it amazing what happens in the last round? You talked about it earlier today, Lee.
Yeah, it's upset territory, final round. The psychology of who's supposed... You'll hear people say they've got to win because they have to win. Greatest rubbish in the world, that one. There's no such thing as have to win, and sometimes the pressure of having to win is the greatest inhibiting factor you can have.
Well, how would Sydney be feeling at the moment with Collingwood travelling there?
Well, it's a similar type of scenario that's going to present itself there.
Kick by Lowe. Thompson at full stretch. Good overhead mark. Played for you, Lee, for Victoria this year?
Yes, a very much improved player. Only played a couple of years of league football, but a very hard worker. Probably his form's dropped off since the state game, I think the St Kilda people would feel.
Clark marks at halfback. Spent a fair bit of tonight on the bench. That's his 4th mark. 13th disposal, out to Hart. Ticking down the clock, 8 1/4 minutes left. They have a handy lead of 21 points, Brisbane. Yes, that's right, folks. Brisbane over St Kilda. Lappin. In he goes. O'Brien. They've all pushed up the ground. There's nobody behind O'Brien in the defensive 70. Clock ticks all the time. Into Power. Chased by Nathan Burke. He's shepherded off by Scott. The kick to half forward. St Kilda there in numbers. Trianides to Peckett. Peckett goes towards the outer wing to Brown. Good run by Tony Brown.
Tony Brown.
Played the ball on quicker from St Kilda's point of view. They've really got to take the punt really and run the ball.
Nicky Winmar holding it up. Still need 4 goals, the Saints. Short. A little bit of danger there, but Sirakovsky does well. Champion looking for the turnover. It won't be there. He can sing and dance, but that sort of acting won't be.
The whole field has changed ends, basically. It was exactly all the players are now in the St Kilda forward.
Great mark, Stewie Lowe. Huge strength. He spotted one, kicks it short, and finds Lappin. So the Saints will look for a goal from Matthew Lappin.
Well, it's a crunch kick. They're going to have to make the most of absolutely every opportunity, St Kilda, so you would think Lappin would absolutely have to kick this to keep the game alive. Already they must kick 4 goals from this point onwards to win the game.
So Matthew Lappin, who last week 26 possessions, a bit quieter this week, but needs to kick this, the first of those 4 goals if the Saints are going to get that top 4 spot they're looking for. It looks pretty good. He's very happy with it. So Lappin gets it. So 1 of 4 they're looking for.
Yes, well now this centre bounce clearance becomes absolutely critical from St Kilda's point of view, and I think just at the moment Matthew Clark, his timing and his judgment in the marking contest and the ruck work has just been a little better, I think, as this game has developed, as we see Stuart Lowe just found Matthew Lappin, who dropped into space, but this centre bounce clearance completely critical from St Kilda's point of view.
Well, Brisbane led by 21 points with 6.5 minutes left. But a goal for the Saints there gives them just some sort of a chance. 15 points the margin. Harvey has it in midfield. Sirakovsky flips the ball out. McLaren. You feel as though he's been in a Formula 1 race after that.
The Brisbane player threw the ball forward. Did you see that? That's an unusual. The umpire didn't sort of take much notice of it. I don't know what he thought he was doing. I think it was Simon Black.
No, he actually handballed it as the whistle went.
Oh, is that what it was? I thought it was well after the whistle went.
Everett, the tap over the back towards McLaren again. This time he gets a quick possession. It dribbles forward. Power under pressure. Quick kick away. Needs a mark. It's Thompson who does well, but the umpire said he's got into the back. So Thompson would perhaps feel a little unfortunate there. But Chris Scott gets it. Here's the replay. Well, I thought
tackle.
Yeah, but it's up with Bradshaw again. Over the back was Trianides. Ackermanis had run too far on. Trianides looking up forward. Kicks it to the wing. 2-on-1 contest going back Chris Scott. He had a quiet second quarter, but he's back in the game now. His kick to Ashcroft. He's had a very good night. Possession number 25. He's clear from 52. It's low. Has it got enough carry? No. Hudson gets back. A tired Maxie Hudson, but does enough. No, he doesn't. So the runner out to Marcus Ashcroft and obviously out to the line, saying 5 minutes to go. Keep it up and we'll get that 5th win.
Yeah, big night for Marcus Ashcroft. And tonight playing his 197th game. He'll have to wait for next year for his 200th. Sierakowski at halfback, gets away from White. Saints need to do it in a hurry and go direct. Everett, not quite. Looks for support, Brown gives it. Brown inside 50, left footer, won't make it. Jones! Well, that's where the little bloke did look a lot bigger than the other little bloke.
Yes, just at the moment you think you might consider changing that, I guess, from Brisbane's point of view, because really as the game is drawing to a close, that is one matchup. When the ball comes quickly like that with St Kilda, look a chance to get it.
And Aussie sneaks it home for a goal. The Saints still alive.
Yes, I think the Brisbane runner coming out, they might just swap over that defensive matchup, I suspect. Just at the moment, or maybe not.
It doesn't look like. He's had a chat to Tim Notting, but as we see on the replay.
Good play by Spider Everett, though, who actually met the ball and just held onto it and fed the ball to Tony Brown.
So the Saints have the second of the 4 they required to win this match. Under 5 minutes remaining, still plenty of time. It's back to a 9-point ball game. Saints looking to do something here. Ashcroft gets caught by Winmar. Spins out of that, gets caught by Burke. Winmar does well, but it doesn't get anywhere. Dick Voss back on the ground.
Just talking forward football here. You just got to get the ball running forward your way from the middle of those packs. Sometimes it's not a question of taking possession, but of just thumping the ball forward and trying to see if one of your teammates can run forward onto the ball.
Centre square clearance is all important now. Winmar realising that, tries to burst through. Harvey off the ground. Here's a chance again for the Saints. The handball goes to Campbell. Campbell from 40 metres, sprays it right. Gee, that was a big kick.
Was a big kick, that one, yes. You're running at the goals, but just didn't quite get himself balanced. The pressure of the occasion, not able to keep the ball on line.
Bews kicks in short. Bamford. 8 points the margin. The Lions clinging to the lead. They led by 21 points not long ago. About 2.5 minutes of playtime ago. Andrew Thompson into Winmar. Everett. He was double teamed and crunched. Going to be a free kick for Spider.
Yes, I think that's where the height's an advantage. He got the front position, and I guess Kennedy was just a little bit unlucky because he knew he just had to really pressure him, but just fell all over him in the as the players went to ground. Well, Everett goes back and kicks this, and you'd normally back Spider Everett from this angle and this distance. The game will absolutely be in the balance. A kick in it with 3.5 minutes to play.
Everett, he's kicked 3. He's missed it. Away to the left for a behind. Actually, he's kicked 3 and 1 out of bounds.
Yeah, no, again, the pressure of the occasion. I think Peter Everett would kick many more than those. He could go back and have that shot 10 times and kick it 8 or 9 times, but when the pressure's on late in the game, fatigue's a factor too.
There's still plenty of time though for the Saints. They're doing all the attacking. The margin now back to 7 points. O'Brien in front of the contest with Clark. The quick handball looking for Ackermanis. It doesn't sit for him. It comes to Trianides. Here go the Saints again. Winmar's been involved. Clark trying to knock it out. You better be careful there. He's in trouble. It's holding the ball. Winmar the free kick.
Yes, he's not that uncoordinated. When he goes to whack the ball, he should have hit it.
Again, looking for the tall timber in Lowy. Kennedy over the back. Stewie Lowe gets the free kick. Things running for the Saints now.
The outside kicking distance, though, I would think Stewie Lowe, and he probably knows. I don't know where the umpires blow time on, but I think Stewie Lowe would want to be getting this on pretty quickly.
7 points the margin. He's going to kick from just outside the 50 late in the game. As Lee said, the distance will test him. Here's the kick now. It's well off the side, but there's still a chance for Spider. Up he goes. It comes to ground. Burke trying to burst the tackle. Back to Peckett. Brown, he's got a player there. Sirakovsky round the body. Sirakovsky's got a goal. I think it's a free kick anyway.
I think it's a goal.
It's a goal anyway, but whatever happens, no, he's missed, so the kick going back. So lots of drama here at the Gabba, and lots of free kicks just in the last couple of minutes to the Saints.
Well, they've got to get one of these, St Kilda, 20 metres out straight in front.
The kick now. Another important kick. No trouble this time. 1 point the margin here at the Gabba.
Well, hasn't this game changed around? All of a sudden the pressure goes the other way because Brisbane really probably had the game won there about 5 minutes to go, and then all of a sudden when St Kilda are now on terms, you start to panic a little bit because, gee, we should have had this game, and now St Kilda with the side going on with the momentum. The crowd will try and lift the home team.
Melbourne viewers going to Perth shortly for the game between the Eagles and the Crows. You won't want to leave this before the siren. It's 1 point the difference. Out of the middle goes Scott. Long to full forward. They get back there in numbers, and Lappin takes the mark. 2 minutes remaining on the clock. Lappin's kick to Winmar. And this time Nicky doesn't let them down. A juggle, but he marked it. Maxie Hodgson, a Queenslander, visiting back home to play for the Saints. Up to Peckett. Winmar kept on running. Winmar's kick's good to Lowe. The Lions lead by 1 point. Kick by Stewie Lowe to centre half forward. Darren White gets back there and plucks a big one.
Gee, poor kick by Stuart Lowe, wasn't it?
Oh, straight back to Lowe.
Equally poor kick.
Free kicks at 22-16 in favour of the Saints. Saints have had a good run in the last 5 minutes. Front of the pack, Winmar. That will be a ball up. 1 minute 14 left on the clock.
From the point of view of the crowd watching, the clock on the scoreboard says 31 and a bit minutes, so they're thinking there's only seconds left, but plenty of time for the Saints to win this match. Just outside their attacking 50. A clean possession. Spider does well, just hits it forward. Brown, here's a chance. Jones in trouble. Quick kick around the body. Campbell there. Also with it is Ashcroft. Gets it out to Power. Searches for the boundary and finds it. Still 45 seconds on the clock. 44. The Lions trying to grimly hold on here at the Gabba. The Saints pushing forward. Clark the punch. It's St Kilda though with the numbers. Thompson, Harvey, will he go in board? Decides to straighten up. Kick short. Misses the target. Power outnumbered 3-1. Winmar tackled by Boyd. Drops it. Goes to ground. A ball up. 25 seconds. The clock still runs. A very tired Brad Boyd gets up. A free kick. A free kick. And the Lions should run it down. Here wants the kick from Scott. It goes to Brown. Everything going wrong here at the Gabba.
He won't kick the distance though, I wouldn't have thought. Oh, he's going to go back and have the shot after the siren.
Andrew Bews is back there in the goal square on Aussie Jones. Think of Bewsy in the last 10 seconds of his league career. Brown goes for a goal that could win the game. Offline. Out of bounds. No score. Lions still in front by a point. 4 seconds left on the clock. A throw in the forward pocket. Saints in attack. They're all going for Lappin. Siren! It's gone through with the siren sounding.
It's a point.
I think the point after the siren. The Lions have won it by a point. And Andrew Bews goes out in the best possible way.
I think
umpires are conferring in the middle of the ground.
Yeah, but they're conferring for the scores. The goal umpire didn't give the score. I'd like to see the replay that last little bit.
Lee, I've just spoken to the umpire. No score.
Thanks,
no
Dipper.
score.
Thanks, Dipper.
So there's Andrew Bews, 282 games, and his last is decided in his team's favour by a point.
Emotional time, isn't it? Fantastic.
Andrew.
Oh, good luck, Dipper.
Andrew, I'll pass you the microphone. Just a few words to your fans, mate.
Well, thanks very much for the years. We've had a shocking year. I think this could probably springboard us into the rest of the future for Brisbane. And to everyone out there, we played that one out for my mum and for ourselves and for all our supporters. Thanks very much. And we love you all. You know that.
Well said, well played.
There are Bewsey's two little boys, both wearing Dad's number 25. And of course, Bewsey's mother died last Sunday night. Didn't quite see the end of his career. So what a week it's been.
Well, in the most dramatic way to finish a career as well. I mean, the umpire must have just blown his whistle virtually a half a second before Stuart Lowy got it through.
Well, I'm not sure what happened, actually. Obviously, the umpire had said when the siren went. I'm not sure how the ball got through. Obviously, whatever pushed the ball through the little kick.
Let's have a look at the replay and listen for the siren.
Good call.
Well, Stewie got it through. He kicked a goal, but it was after the siren.
No, that was very good umpiring. Good call. Good call in a pressure situation.
Now, that could have determined the game if the sound of the siren had taken half a second to reach that goal square.
St Kilda in the top four.
This is exactly what Brisbane needs up here with a win like this, and obviously a pre-season ahead of them.
Well, terrific moment for Andy Bews, who finishes his career. Former Geelong captain, twice All-Australian, played 12 state games for Victoria, and finishes with a win at the Gabba for the Lions. And on the same weekend, Richard Osborne bows out, Paul Roos bows out. And that leaves one veteran up on the top there, Craig Bradley, to go on as he approaches 300.
Well, there's no more liked or no more favourite player than Andrew Bews.
Well, that will have dire consequences for the Saints, that 1 point loss. Let's take a look at the ladder as it stands now. And St Kilda currently in 4th place on the ladder, but they can be passed by Melbourne. They can be passed by Adelaide, who play tonight in Perth. And if those results go that way, the Saints probably finish 6th, and that means they'll play the team which finishes 3rd in the first week of finals, and that could be Sydney. So it could be a trip to Harbour City for the Saints next week.
Well, isn't there some incentive for Melbourne now against Richmond tomorrow? I mean, there was always the incentive, I guess, but Melbourne now got a top 4 position just there in the waiting.
Also, the Adelaide West Coast game immediately after. I mean, the pressure's been taking off them. One of them may have missed out in the finals. Now one of them, perhaps Adelaide, is playing for top 4 spot as well.
It was amazing. I mean, Essendon today could have finished as high as 3rd and as low as 9th. I mean, just the ramifications in the last round have just been amazing.
So it's fantastic down here, boys. Andrew Bews obviously done a lap of honour down there. He's got his boys here and just going through the crowds.
So there it is. It's the Lions by a point, 12-20 to 13-13.